Chapter 559. The Jade Sand City was bustling with activity. Once they got off the highway, they could feel the bustling atmosphere. Lin, who didn't know where Thunder Cry lived, but with Lei Jun's guidance, the group headed straight for Thunder Cry's headquarters. The Lei family had been in the underworld for generations. They understood the principle of a crafty rabbit having 3 burrows. Not only did they have a residence in the city, they also had a huge independent villa outside the city. There were 3 floors inside and 3 floors outside, all of which were filled with spies. If there was any movement, Lei Ming would receive the news. As a result, before the 2 cars could get close to the Lei family's villa, they were already discovered. The roadblock at the intersection was put down, blocking the car. Tang Zheng got off the car and looked around. The Lei family's base camp was like a small kingdom, several times larger than Huang San's base camp in the past. When the 2 cars were stopped by the roadblock, a large group of people with unfriendly expressions surrounded them. Tang Zheng was too lazy to waste his breath with these people, so he asked Yi Yuan to escort Lei Jun out of the car. Immediately, when the other party saw the battered and exhausted Lei Jun, it was as if a hornet's nest had exploded, as they roared and rushed over like a tide. Tang Zheng squinted his eyes, and with a wave of his hand, the witch clan immediately rushed out like a tiger and wolf, like a ferocious beast playing with water. The other party's crowd was immediately torn apart, and many people were like splashes of water, flying in all directions. The witch clan was born with divine strength and was also a cultivator. How could this group of mobs who only knew how to force themselves to be strong be compared to them? Not long later, the ground was covered with people, screaming miserably at the top of their lungs. When the others saw this, they finally knew fear and retreated. Who dares to cause trouble in my Lei family? Suddenly, a furious roar sounded out, and the crowd automatically separated. Lei Ming walked out boldly, his eyes like torches, staring at the enemy fiercely. When he saw Lei Jun, his pupils constricted and he couldn't help but clench his fists. Who are you people? Tang Zheng took a step forward and said, You sent people to destroy my business, but you don't know who I am. Humph, how interesting. Lei Ming narrowed his eyes and examined Tang Zheng from head to toe. He asked, Are you Tang Zheng? Looks like you're not that stupid after all. Tang Zheng jokingly said. Impudent. How dare a kid who hasn't even grown out speak to me like that? Lei Ming shouted in an overbearing manner. His eyes turned and locked onto Lin Hu. Lin Hu, you actually followed this brat. I don't know if you have been living like a dog all these years. It was clear that Thunder was more familiar with Lin Hu, who had been in ordinary balance for most of his life, but he was very disdainful of him. Although Tang Zheng had made a name for himself in ordinary balance, in Lei Ming's eyes, he was just a child's play. Ordinary balance was a small place that he had deliberately neglected. Otherwise, how could it have fallen into the hands of others? It was because of Lei Ming's innate pride that he was so arrogant and fearless. Anger flashed across Lin Hu's face. If it was before, he would not have dared to go against Lei Ming. But at this moment, with young Master Tang as his backing, he was not afraid at all. He took a big step forward, stood out, and said, Lei Ming, we have always minded our own business, but this time you have crossed the line and dared to make a move on young Master Tang. This is breaking the rules. What do you say we do? Lei Ming snorted disdainfully and said, Rules? You dare to talk to me about rules? In the past, even the ordinary balances Huang San did not dare to talk to me like that. Who do you think you are, Lin Hu? Lin Hu's face flashed with anger. Lei Ming, I am doing this for your own good. Otherwise, the one who will suffer will be you. Lin Hu had long understood Tang Zheng's style of doing things. If people did not offend him, he would not offend them. If people offended him, he would kill them. However, Lei Ming was not Huang San, and Yu Sha was not the ordinary balance. Although Lin Hu believed in Tang Zheng's strength, he did not want Tang Zheng to fight to the death with Lei Ming. Tang Zheng could see through Lin Hu's thoughts, but he did not comment. Since he had such thoughts, then he would let him express it. Lei Ming did not know of Lin Hu's good intentions. He was extremely disdainful as he arrogantly laughed, arrogant, you dare to be so arrogant in my territory, and even dare to say that you are doing this for my own good. Whatever, it seems that my, Lei Ming's, reputation is not as good as it was in the past. Any random cat or dog dares to step on me. Today, I will use your deeds to tell others that in this place, I, Lei Ming, have the final say. Lin Hu helplessly shook his head. The other party was stubborn and treated his good intentions as bad intentions. Since that was the case, then there was nothing to talk about. Otherwise, it would be a waste of Tang Zheng's prestige. Lin Hu took a step back and respectfully stood behind Tang Zheng, not saying another word. This result had long been within Tang Zheng's expectations. These stubborn old men would not listen to Lin Hu's words. Tang Zheng leisurely walked forward and said softly, I hate threats the most. Since you have threatened me, then I will definitely not turn a blind eye to it. I must prevent this kind of thing from happening again. However, if you tell me where Qin Lao is, then I will let you die a little faster. Lei Ming looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. Was this brat talking about fantasy? How could he say such shameless words? Lei Ming was stunned for a long time before bursting into laughter. Even his subordinates were laughing. Some of them were laughing so hard that they could not straighten their backs. This was too funny. They had never seen such a reckless person. You want to find Qin Lao? You are not qualified. You want to kill me? Then I will send you to hell first. Lei Ming's face darkened like 10,000 years of ice. He waved his hand and said, Get rid of them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Tang Zheng also frowned, and said, One is not enough, it's ruthless enough, as expected of you running amok in Yusha for so many years. Since you want to start a massacre, if I don't return the favor, wouldn't that be too rude? Ah Yuan, get rid of Lei Jun. Yi Yuan did not hesitate to grab Lei Jun's neck. Lei Jun immediately rolled his eyes and could not breathe. Seeing that his son was in danger, Lei Ming was unable to restrain his anger and roared, Kill him and save my son. Caw caw caw. The sound of gun bolts being pulled rang out, and a dozen or so people jumped out from behind Lei Ming. Each of them had a pistol in their hands, and this was one of Lei Ming's killing moves, a group of death warriors raised by the Lei clan. This group of people could be called sharpshooters, and it was unknown how many lives they had taken. Many of Lei Ming's enemies had already died at their hands. At the same time they fired, their feet did not stop as they quickly approached in an attempt to save Lei Jun. Kill. Tang Zheng did not retreat an inch. Instead, he took the lead and with a loud roar, he soared into the air and dodged the bullets. The War Soul's sword was already in his hands. The War Soul's sword had long been thirsty to drink human blood. Today, it was just the right time to use these people as sacrificial offerings. With a flash of the blade, Tang Zheng had already pounced in front of the death warrior. With a wide swing of his sword, the pistol in one of his hands broke into two pieces, but the opponent's reaction was also very fast. With his other hand, he also took out a gun and aimed it at Tang Zheng and pulled the trigger. The opponent was actually able to shoot left and right. Both of his hands could use the gun, and his marksmanship was extremely accurate. The War Soul's sword crossed his chest to block, clang clang clang, the golden bullet struck the sword, but did not injure Tang Zheng in the slightest. How could Tang Zheng allow the opponent to suppress him like this? With a flash, he moved away from the muzzle of the gun, and the War Soul's sword fell from the sky. Pucci, the opponent's two arms were cut off, blood splattering everywhere. Tang Zheng kicked the opponent in the chest, and the opponent flew backwards. All of this seemed complicated, but in fact, it all happened in a split second. Seeing the bullets flying towards him, Yi Yuan grabbed Lei Jun and used him as a shield, blocking in front of him. Pu, blood splattered everywhere, and Lei Jun immediately turned into a hornet's nest, dead to the point that he couldn't be any more dead. Lei Ming's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets when he saw this. He roared, "My son, kill them all. Avenge my son. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Kill their families too. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots. Leave no one alive. Immediately, the faces of the death warriors became even colder, as if they were facing death, and the speed at which they pulled the trigger became even faster. The Witch Clan warriors did not sit still and wait for death. They followed behind Tang Zhang and shuttled through the rain of bullets. The bullets brushed past their bodies, but their expressions did not change, as if the bullets were just small stones that they did not put in their eyes at all. The Witch Clan warriors already knew the power of guns and cannons, so of course they would not foolishly use their bodies to block them. Although they had all cultivated the primal chaos Vajra spell, they would not take the risk of using their bodies to block the bullets. On the other hand, Wu was the calmest. She knew very well that these people could not harm Tang Jing at all, so she crossed her arms and calmly watched as Tang Jing charged forward. Occasionally, 1 or 2 bullets would fly towards her, but she would only slightly move her body to dodge them. Everyone was shocked when they saw that this tiger-like army was actually not afraid of the lethality of the bullets. If it was just one person, it would not be enough to be afraid, but the key was that all 30 of them were the same. This rainbow-like aura was even more frightening than those death warriors. The moment the bullets finally changed the stretcher, the Witch Clan warriors took advantage of this gap and swung out their fists like iron hammers, smashing into the temples of these people. With a muffled bang, not only did people fall down, there were also people who fell down. These warriors, who had been fighting ferocious beasts in the forest all year round, every move was a killing move. There were no extra movements at all, and they were as smooth as flowing water. They were filled with the violent beauty of iron and blood, causing people to be shocked to the core. However, their attacks had one thing in common, and that was that their movements were relatively single. Furthermore, everyone's movements were completely different. It was obvious that they were not the moves of the system, but the moves that they had figured out in practice. This was the weakness of the Witch Clan. Although they could cultivate, the Primal Chaos Vajra spell was a cultivation technique that tempered the body, not a technique. Therefore, although their cultivation was not low, their techniques were still weak. Chapter 560. The Witch Clan was invincible, and in an instant, all of the death warriors were dead or injured. Lei Ming's eyes revealed fear as he stared fixedly at Tang Zheng. How could this brat's skills be so terrifying? Tang Zheng seemed to feel Lei Ming's gaze. He turned his head to look, and when their eyes met, Lei Ming's eyes felt as if they had been pricked by a needle, and was intimidated by Tang Zheng's aura, causing his heart to tremble in fear. Damn it, this group of people is far more powerful than I imagined. No, most of them are watching the scene, so there aren't that many people to deal with him. I have to get reinforcements. Seeing the death warriors fall one by one, Lei Ming's heart was bleeding. It was not easy to nurture these death warriors. He had suffered a huge loss this time. Qin Lao did not remind him that Tang Zheng was so powerful, and allowed him to poke such a big hornet's nest. Lei Ming hid behind the crowd and retreated bit by bit as he made a call and spoke in a low voice. After hanging up the phone, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. The Great Life Order said, "All of you, go up and block them. If anyone dares to take half a step back, not only will I kill him, I will also kill his entire family." With this threat, no one dared to retreat. Those who had retreated to the side had reluctantly rushed forward, but in front of the shamans, these people were like paper. Although there were 200 or 300 of them, against an opponent who was only 1/10 of them, they were defeated like a landslide. These people did not have guns, they only had some cold weapons, so the threat was even weaker. Not long later, these people collapsed and retreated in defeat. They no longer cared about Lei Ming's threat and fled in panic while crying for their parents. "Where's Lei Ming?" Tang Zheng stopped, the War Soul sword was still dripping with blood. He asked with a murderous aura. Yi Yuan and the rest shook their heads. Just now, they were only focused on killing the enemy, but they did not notice Lei Ming and let him slip away. Wu walked up, pointed at the large villa in the distance, and said, "He escaped in." It was obvious that Lei Ming, who had been observing the situation quietly and had not made a move, did not escape her eyes. "Let's go. What kind of broken big brother dragon head is this? He only has this bit of courage and this bit of skill. He's running pretty fast." Tang Zheng said disdainfully. He had wronged Lei Ming, but he couldn't blame Lei Ming for running away. Tang Zhang's display of strength was simply too shocking. The people of the underworld were at most a little more ruthless. Even if they competed for territory and fought in large groups, it was not so tragic. Even if there were warriors, there were only a few of them. A gunman team like Lei Ming, who had cultivated a group of men of sacrifice, could run rampant in this territory. They had stood tall for many years and no one dared to provoke them. However, these strengths were obviously not enough in front of Tang Zheng. Even a national secret organization like the Dragon Group was something that Tang Zheng dared to contend against. Against these local forces, it was simply crushing them, making them unable to resist at all. In fact, this was also one of the reasons why Tang Zheng was not interested in the underground world. Although it looked impressive on the surface, in fact, in Tang Zheng's eyes, it was just like that. No matter how powerful the boss was, his vision was too small, and his strength was not enough to look at. Tang Zheng's vision was no longer what it used to be. After seeing so many mountains and ridges, how could he be interested in some bumpkins? Therefore, playing with the underground world was equivalent to an adult bullying a child. However, if there was an underground force that dared to challenge his dignity, then they would be a devilish child. When dealing with devilish children, they would definitely not be lenient. If they did not beat them up until they were afraid, they would not know how to restrain themselves. This time, Tang Zheng's action of wantonly attacking Thunder's headquarters was firstly to take revenge, and secondly to intimidate the other forces, so that they would not dare to provoke him again, and also so that the other forces would not dare to take half a step into the ordinary balance. Otherwise, in the future, when he left the ordinary balance to go to school, these forces would come to the ordinary balance to cause trouble. Wouldn't that be very troublesome? Bang! With a kick on the thick door, the door was directly kicked flying. The large luxurious villa was completely silent, and many servants were hiding in the corner, trembling. Where did Thunder go? Tang Zheng asked. The servants shook their heads in fear and unease. Looks like he really hid like a turtle. Then let's put in some effort. If we don't find him, we won't withdraw today. Under Tang Zheng's orders, the Witch Clan warriors split into several groups and began to search the villa. However, after half a day, they found nothing. He can't have grown wings and flew away, right? Tang Zheng said strangely. No one answered him, but a series of sirens came from afar. Lin Hu's face stiffened, and he hurriedly said, Young Master Tang, the police are here. Lei Ming has run amok in Jade Sand for so many years, he must have a protective umbrella. It's not appropriate for us to directly clash with the police, let's go first. Tang Zheng's eyes flashed, the corner of his mouth hooked up, and said, Since it's a protective umbrella, protecting this kind of person is not a good person, why would we be afraid of these people? Moreover, if a person like Lei Ming were to let the tiger return to the mountain, then he would definitely hide. At that time, he would be in the dark and we would be in the light. Tang Zheng did not have a ticking time bomb waiting for him. He himself was not afraid, but there were too many people related to him. If someone were to die because of this, then it would be too late for him to regret it. Tang Zheng simply turned around and walked out. When he walked to the door, he saw that a black mass of police had already surrounded the villa, each one of them as if they were facing a great enemy, but also panicked. Especially the dead and injured people on the ground, it gave them too much of a shock. Jade Sand hasn't had such a large-scale incident for many years, and many people still didn't know what was going on. Just where did this fierce person come from to cause such a big mess? Seeing a group of people walk out, the group of police pulled out their guns and pointed them at them. One of them who looked like an officer raised a loudspeaker and shouted, All of you, put down your weapons and surrender, otherwise we will open fire. Tang Zheng looked at the other party with a smile, and suddenly walked towards them. The police immediately acted as if they were facing a great enemy, and shouted, Stop, take one more step and we will open fire. Tang Zheng stopped, looked at the other party, and said with a smile, Lei Ming really has a lot of face, he actually called over so many police helpers. Fine, since the police are here, then there is no way to continue fighting. You still want to fight, this father will let you eat a bullet. The police officer shouted. Is that so? Hee hee. Tang Jing chuckled disapprovingly. Don't move, or else we'll immediately shoot and turn you into a hornet's nest. The police officer threatened, and then hurriedly ordered his subordinates to capture Tang Jing. A group of policemen carried their guns, their muzzles never leaving Tang Jing's side as they carefully walked towards Tang Jing. Tang Jing did not move, as if he was truly frightened. Seeing that, Yi Yuan was about to rush up and repel the policeman, but he was stopped by Tang Jing's gaze. Immediately, the others were indignant, their eyes spitting fire as they watched the police surround Tang Jing, handcuff him, and arrest him. Yi Yuan and his clansmen were puzzled, they did not know why the Lord Envoy wanted to surrender. Only Wu Wu looked at Tang Jing thoughtfully. You still have guts. Who exactly are you to dare to be so unbridled in Yusha and kill so many people? The police officer finally had the guts to swagger out and ask arrogantly. Lei Ming wants to kill me. Of course I want to kill him. Tang Jing said calmly. The police officer did not expect Tang Jing to narrate the matter so calmly. He was startled for a moment, then immediately flew into a rage. You dare to be so arrogant in my territory, brat. You are the first one to dare to touch Master Lei. You really ate the guts of a leopard. I can tell you clearly, you will die miserably. Master Lei? Hee hee, you police officers already call Lei Ming master. What a group of virtuous and filial sons. Tang Jing said in ridicule. These words immediately aroused the anger of the crowd. Someone kicked Tang Jing's waist, but Tang Jing did not move at all. He looked at the other with ridicule and said, Is this all you have? Brat, I'll call you crazy. I've seen a lot of people like you. When you get to the police station, I'll see how crazy you are. The police officer clenched his teeth and said, obviously hating Tang Jing to death, Arrest the others, don't let a single one of them go. We must severely punish this group of outlaws. The police immediately pounced on the witch clan warrior. Without the orders of the envoy, everyone dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. No one resisted as they were all handcuffed. Moreover, the police did not let down their guard in the slightest. One by one, the black muzzles were pointed at them, ready to fire at any time. Tang Jing, however, acted as if nothing had happened. He stared at the other party and said, Since we've been arrested, then shouldn't the main character come out and say a few words to show off his strength and express his feelings? The other party was stunned for a moment, unable to understand Tang Jing's thoughts. Brat, you talk a lot. I'll make you speechless later. The police officer said hatefully. As soon as he finished speaking, a person walked out of the villa with large strides. He greeted the police officer with an ashen face. Chief Hong, thank you for coming in time. Wasn't this person Lei Ming who was hiding? Tang Jing looked at Lei Ming with a smile and said, Aren't you going to be a coward? Lei Ming said fiercely, Brat, let's see how you dare to be arrogant now. You killed my son, I will definitely let you taste the pain of not wanting to live and live a life worse than death. I'm afraid you won't have that chance. Tang Jing shook his head and said. What do you mean? Lei Ming's heart skipped a beat as he suddenly had an ominous premonition. However, looking at the armed police, his confidence instantly soared. Just like what Lin Hu had said, the Lei family had been operating in Jade Sand for 2 generations and had bribed countless officials. That was why they were so unbridled. However, Lei Ming would not easily use his official resources. After all, no one had the ability to force him to this step in all these years. This time, he was caught off guard and forced into a corner by Tang Jing, which was why he couldn't wait to seek official support. Chapter 561. Gotcha. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Tang Jing's handcuffed hands were pulled to the sides, and the handcuffs were like paper, breaking into 2 halves. Suddenly, everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Gotcha. Gotcha. However, as if that sound was a signal, the sound of the handcuffs breaking came one after another. After a while, all the witchcraft warriors regained their freedom. The policemen were stunned and didn't know what to do. Lei Ming reacted quickly and shouted, "Open fire. Hurry up and open fire." He had seen how powerful these people were. Since they dared to break free from the handcuffs, it meant that they were not afraid of the police. Since he had been exposed, wouldn't he be in danger? He was just an outsider. How could the police listen to his order and shoot directly? Moreover, the guns of the police nowadays were more of a deterrent. Some of them probably hadn't fired a gun in a year, so no one immediately opened fire. This gave the warriors of the witch tribe an opportunity to attack, and they would not hesitate. However, they also knew that these policemen were not gangsters, so they did not kill them. One by one, they greeted the policemen with their fists. The policemen subconsciously resisted, but how could their wrestling skills be a match for the warriors of the witch tribe? Bang! 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 The policemen were knocked down one by one and their guns were taken away. The police officer was half a beat faster than the other police officers. The gun in his hand was aimed at Tang Zhang and he fiercely pulled the trigger, but Tang Zhang's movements were even faster than his. With a point of his finger, the police officer found that his finger could not pull the trigger no matter what. Not long after, his entire body stiffened and he could not move. "What did you do to me?" Tang Zhang smiled mysteriously. He had only sealed the policeman's acupoints. Although Tang Zhang was not afraid of him, after all, his skin had a certain protective effect. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Tang Zhang didn't want to hurt the police. Lei Ming's reaction was faster than everyone else. When Tang Zhang pointed his finger, he waved his hand and a cold light flashed, shooting directly at Tang Zhang's throat. Tang Zhang felt a shiver run down his spine. Seeing how cowardly the other party was and how he only knew how to run away, Tang Zhang thought that he was just a fake. Who would have thought that he was actually hiding his true strength? From the looks of it, the other party was at least a Xiantian lord. However, thinking about it from another perspective, it was understandable. Back then, Huang San was a first-grade Xiantian realm martial artist. This Lei Ming naturally didn't just rely on a group of powerful subordinates to occupy such an important place like Jade Sand. To forge iron, one needed to be strong. Without a solid foundation of true martial arts, how could he intimidate those lawless people under him? Seeing that the cold light was about to hit Tang Zhang's throat, Tang Zhang slightly twisted his body to avoid being hit. The cold light hit Tang Zhang's shoulder. Lei Ming was overjoyed. His sneak attack had finally succeeded. His weapon was coated with poison. Once it touched blood, it would seal the mouth. Even if he did not hit a vital point, as long as he managed to stab the opponent would not be able to keep his life. This was Lei Ming's trump card. He would never show it to others easily. However, as long as he used it, it would never miss. It would catch the enemy off guard and take their life. This was also one of the reasons why he had been holding back. He had been waiting for an opportunity. Otherwise, if Tang Zhang managed to dodge it, the second time would not be so easy. Clang! A crisp sound rang out. That cold light did not pierce Tang Zhang's shoulder. Instead, it was bounced back. The complacent expression on Lei Ming's face suddenly disappeared. His body stiffened as he looked at the scene in disbelief. This was a weapon forged from diamond. Why did it not pierce the opponent's shoulder? Tang Zhang lowered his head and looked at his shoulder. There was a hole in his clothes, revealing the skin underneath. His skin flashed with a metallic luster before everything returned to normal. Lei Ming unwaveringly stared at Tang Zhang's shoulder, hoping to see a trace of blood. However, he was disappointed as he clearly saw that Tang Zhang's skin did not have a single wound. At this moment, his heart was overwhelmed with shock as he thought to himself, is this person invulnerable? The chaotic Vajra spell was indeed extraordinary. This attack was enough to pierce through the body of an ordinary person, but it did not leave a single wound on Tang Zhang's body. Tang Zhang was very satisfied with this effect. The corner of his mouth curled up and he smiled mysteriously. Lei Ming, smart, you actually know how to sneak attack. It's just that you didn't expect this, right? Who the hell are you? You're so young, how can you be invulnerable? Lei Ming asked in fear. Tang Jing snorted and did not reply. Instead, he walked towards the other party step by step, his gaze locked onto the weapon in Lei Ming's hand. This weapon was very strange, it was an iron chain. However, at the front of the chain was a thin, sharp blade that was as long as a palm, glowing with a trace of blue light. Seeing Tang Zheng's murderous aura, Lei Ming knew that he was about to face a fierce battle. In the past, when he faced his enemies, he had always been confident, but now, he was extremely guilty and did not have the slightest bit of confidence. Especially after Tang Jing displayed his invulnerability, it made things worse. He only had the urge to quickly escape, and at the same time, he had already cursed Qin Lao and the ancestors of the Song family in his heart. If they had not come to find him and promised him great benefits, how could he have provoked a nemesis like Tang Jing? Seeing Tang Jing close in, Lei Ming let out a low roar and hurriedly retreated. With a flick of his finger, with a so sound, the chain flew out and attacked Tang Jing like a poisonous snake. With a flash of sword light, the War Soul sword slashed fiercely, causing ripples in the air. The chain was unable to get close to Tang Jing in the slightest, and immediately, the two sides engaged in a fierce battle. Sword light danced in the air, interweaving with the shadows of thousands of chains. After the others dealt with the police, they immediately gathered together to enjoy the fierce battle. The policemen were even more dumbstruck. They had already forgotten the pain in their bodies and did not dare to breathe. Only now did they understand that they had really kicked an iron plate this time. Lei Ming retreated step by step, and was safely suppressed by Tang Jing. Moreover, he clearly felt that the other party did not use his full strength, otherwise his situation would be even worse. He really regretted it, gasping for breath as he begged for mercy. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. This time, it's a flood rushing against the Dragon King's temple. We don't know each other, so let's stop fighting and sit down to talk, okay? Tang Jing sneered. This was the so-called Jade Sand Road's big brother, who was so greedy for life and afraid of death. It was really shocking. He did not know that Lei Ming had not personally killed an enemy for many years, and his youthful spirit had been completely wiped out. He was not like Tang Jing, who was not afraid of anything. Moreover, people who had been at ease for too long would cherish their lives more. Where is Qin Lao? Tang Jing asked coldly. Lei Ming heard this and quickly said, he has already left my house, but he is still in Jade Sand. I heard that he went to Tian Shuji's place. Who is Tian Shuji? The secretary of the provincial party committee. Tang Jing understood. The power of the Song family was indeed not to be underestimated. They actually had a good relationship with the governor of a province. No matter why Lei Ming went to find this Governor Tian, since Tang Jing wanted to kill Qin Lao, then he had to find the other party even if he had to dig 3 feet into the ground. I have already answered your question, so can you let me go? Lei Ming asked pitifully. He did not have any of his previous prestige, which made the policeman surprised. It turned out that the usually arrogant Lei Ming also had this side. Tang Jing chuckled and mercilessly crushed Lei Ming's hope. If you had this kind of attitude from the beginning, then you would not have come to this point. Now it is too late for you to say anything. Lei Ming's eyes flashed with a touch of panic. How can you be like this? I have already answered your question. Did I promise you that if you answered my question, you would not die? You. Lei Ming was speechless. Tang Jing indeed did not promise. Suddenly, his face changed, full of determination and murderous intent. He gritted his teeth and said, if you kill me, the police will not let you go. Hee, you are counting on your protection to fight for a way out. It may be useful to others, but it is useless to me. Tang Jing was not even afraid of a mysterious organization like the Dragon Group, so why would he be afraid of the police? Moreover, he was now cooperating with the National Security Bureau. If the National Security Bureau could not even handle such a small matter, then how could he continue to show his face? Therefore, Tang Jing dared to cause such a ruckus without the slightest scruple because he was completely prepared. He was truly fearless. Lei Ming was shocked. He had been around for most of his life, but he had never seen such a daring person. Although he was the tyrant of Jade Sand, he still had to rely on a big tree and seek protection from many umbrellas before he dared to do such a thing. Where did this brat's confidence come from? Brat, you killed Master Lei, don't even think about leaving Jade Sand. Seeing this, the police officer could not help but support Lei Ming. Tang Jing sneered and did not comment. With a flash of his feet, he used the earth-shrinking technique and immediately closed the distance between them. The War Soul Sword chopped down, the powerful aura oppressing the stones on the ground and causing them to explode. Dust and smoke rose in all directions, and then the sword light descended, cutting through the smoke and dust, slashing towards Lei Ming's neck. Lei Ming shouted loudly as the chain flew out and wrapped around the War Soul Sword, blocking the attack. Then, with a tap of his foot on the ground, he quickly retreated backwards, and with another tap of his foot, he shot out like an arrow leaving the bow, madly fleeing. Not far away was a small forest. As long as he escaped into this forest, he could easily hide his tracks. As long as he escaped this calamity, it would not be too late for him to take revenge in the future. At that time, he would definitely kill all the people related to Tang Zheng and let him know the consequences of going against him, Lei Ming. Seeing that the other party had already escaped over 100 meters away, as if there was wind beneath his feet, Tang Zheng did not chase after him. With a wave of his hand, the chain wrapped around the War Soul Sword flew out, quickly and accurately shooting towards Lei Ming's back. Hearing the strong wind coming from behind him, Lei Ming hurriedly dodged to the side. However, his speed was still a bit slower than the speed of the chain. With a poochie sound, a bright red flower bloomed on his arm. His arm was cut by the sharp blade. Chapter 562. Lei Ming screamed miserably, but he did not care about the pain. He grabbed his arm and saw that the blood flowing out of the wound had already turned black, and like a small snake, many black lines spread out from the wound to the other parts of his body. He was so scared that his face was drained of blood. He knew too well how powerful his weapon was. There was no cure for this poison. Moreover, the poison would follow his blood vessels and spread to his 8 extraordinary meridians. Soon, he would die suddenly. Furthermore, he did not have the antidote. I can't die, I can't die. He was like a sieve, shivering as he stuck his arm above his head, trying to stop the blood from flowing. However, it was futile, and the poison was spreading at a speed visible to the naked eye. The others watched from afar as he was scared out of his wits. They were truly curious. Tang Zheng and Wu Qiue's eyes flashed at the same time as they ran towards Lei Ming. When they saw Lei Ming's wound, the two of them looked at each other and immediately understood why he was so afraid. It turned out that the weapon was poisoned. If not for the fact that he had cultivated the primal chaos Vajra mantra, he would have been injured by the weapon just now. Then, his death would have been too unjust. The true masters of the martial arts world disdained to use poison. After all, it was not a righteous method. Moreover, those masters were very confident in their skills. Why would they use poison and lower their status? However, Lei Ming was different. He was a man of the underworld. He only wanted to survive, so he was willing to do anything. He was probably very proud of himself for smearing poison on his weapon. However, this incident reminded Tang Zheng and Wu that if they met an enemy in the future, they had to be on guard against them using poison. Otherwise, if they failed miserably, they would suffer a huge loss. In addition, Tang Zheng also thought of something. Was there an omnipotent antidote pill in this world that was like a universal key that could remove or suppress most poisons? This would play a huge role in times of need, just like how the pill refined by the witch clan elder could suppress the poison of the miasma in the 10,000 huge mountains, thus ensuring that people could pass through the miasma on their own. In the future, I must carefully think about the matter of the antidote elixir. Tang Jing silently noted this down. Lei Ming saw that the poison in the wound was spreading rapidly, and he knew that he would die soon. Suddenly, a determined look flashed across his face. He grabbed the arm and pulled hard. Poochie. Blood splattered everywhere as he tore off his arm. He was in so much pain that his eyes rolled back. Everyone else's heart tightened. This Lei Ming was really ruthless. If he could be so ruthless to himself, he wouldn't have the slightest bit of mercy to others. Tang Zheng couldn't help but rejoice that he had pretended to be weak and lured the snake out of its hole. Otherwise, if Lei Ming had escaped, Tang Zheng would have to face a lot of trouble in the future. But he originally didn't want to interfere with this poisonous snake. All of this was caused by the Song family's interference. Therefore, Tang Zheng's resentment towards the Song family deepened. He absolutely couldn't let Qin Lao leave. He had to make the Song family pay the price for this operation. The intense pain caused Lei Ming's face to twist. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw that the blood flowing out of the wound had turned black. This meant that the poison had spread to the internal organs of his body. Suddenly, his face turned ashen. He had endured the pain of losing his arm, but he was a step too late. Immediately, he began to twitch non-stop. He fiercely glared at Tang Zheng and hysterically roared, "Tang Zheng, I won't let you go. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Humph, this is you seeking your own death. You only have yourself to blame. If it wasn't for my strength being above others, I would have already died by your hands. Since you're in this line of work, you should understand the principle of the weak being prey to the strong. You took the initiative to start this war, so you should be aware of the consequences." Tang Zheng coldly said. "I refuse to accept this. It was clearly the Song family who wanted to deal with you. They wanted to seize the ordinary balance's territory. Why am I the one who died? Ah." Suddenly, Lei Ming let out a mournful scream. His body stood tall and then suddenly stiffened. It was as if all the strength in his body had been sucked out. He heavily fell to the ground, no longer breathing. Tang Zheng's eyes didn't have the slightest bit of pity. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. Tang Zheng had long since learned this principle. But when he heard Lei Ming's last sentence, his eyelids jumped and he muttered to himself, "So even if I didn't make a move against the ordinary balance courtyard, the Song family had already decided to deal with me. Moreover, they had started with the ordinary balance. If I really let them control the underground world of the ordinary balance, then wouldn't the people related to me be in trouble?" He rejoiced a bit. He had made the first move and gained the upper hand. Then he had seized the initiative step by step, causing the other side to not have time to carry out their plans before they were crushed by him. He believed that after this matter, there wouldn't be any power near the ordinary balance who would dare to stir up trouble in the ordinary balance. It doesn't matter if you don't accept it. Because, from the moment you colluded with the Song family, you were already destined to be cannon fodder. Tang Zheng calmly said. Even if the other side had taken the initiative and succeeded, they would definitely have suffered a blow from Tang Zheng. And Lei Ming would have to bear the brunt of Tang Zheng's anger. So, from the beginning, Lei Ming had been pushed out by the Song family to die as a shield. But it was a pity that Lei Ming didn't understand Tang Zheng's strength. He was completely blinded by the benefits promised by the Song family. Only then did he attract this disaster. Marshall glanced at the calm and collected Tang Zheng. Her heart was slightly moved. He seemed to be more and more like her master. He killed decisively and was absolutely not merciful to the enemy. She didn't feel afraid. On the contrary, she was somewhat happy and gratified. A tiger father wouldn't have a dog son. If her master knew about this matter, he would definitely be very happy. Of course, her anger towards the Song family was becoming more and more intense. She could hate Tang Zheng and even ruthlessly cut him a few times, but she didn't want others to deal with him. If it was in the past, she would have already used the strength of the martial sect to brutally attack the Song family. But now that the martial sect had fallen apart, she no longer had any power or manpower in her hands. She could only silently remember this matter in her heart and wait for the right time to give the Song family a fatal blow. She had to let the Song family know the consequences of daring to deal with Tang Zheng. The two of them walked back to the front of the policeman. All of them had expressions of fear on their faces. Even though they had seen a lot of things and had even caught a lot of criminals, they still felt fear when facing a person of Tang Zhang's level. Moreover, he seemed to have no fear in his heart. Even though he had killed Lei Ming in front of everyone, he wasn't in a hurry to escape. Instead, he looked at them with interest. Could it be that killing Lei Ming wasn't enough for him and he still wanted to kill all of the witnesses? Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. It was as if they had fallen into an ice cave. The coldness was bone-piercing as they looked at Tang Zhang with pale faces. You. What are you going to do? The police officer's lips were trembling as he stammered and asked fearfully. The trace of luck in his heart had already disappeared. This person even dared to kill Lei Ming, let alone them. Tang Zhang looked at him coldly and said, "If it wasn't for the fact that you're wearing this skin, you would have accompanied him as well. In the future, if you do anything bad, your duty is to protect the common people, not to protect them. Do you understand?" When the other party heard that he could live, he was overjoyed and hurriedly said, "Understood, understood. We will definitely turn over a new leaf and do our duty to protect the common people." Tang Zhang coldly snorted, turned around and left. The Witch Clan warriors also followed, and the two cars sped away like lightning. "Sai, you haven't untied me yet. I can't move." The police officer shouted in panic, but the car had already gone far away. At the intersection of the highway, the two cars stopped. Tang Zhang instructed Tang Zhang to send his clansmen back to the ordinary balance. There were too many people, and the target was too big. If there was a mishap, no matter who lost, Tang Zhang's heart would ache. "Lord Envoy, this place is dangerous. We will stay by your side to protect you," Yi Yuan insisted. Tang Zhang laughed, and said, "No one can hurt me in this jade sand. Don't worry, bring your clansmen back. Lin Hu, arrange for them. These people will be escorting our businesses in the future." Lin Hu still had not recovered from his shock. Even though he had followed Tang Zhang for a few days, he had not experienced many major events, so he did not have a thorough understanding of Tang Zhang's style. After experiencing this matter, he truly understood that Tang Zhang's realm was far from what he could imagine. Many of the rules and difficulties that he thought to be difficult were not even worth mentioning in front of Tang Zhang. "Young Master Tang, Lei Ming is already dead. What are you still doing in jade sand?" Lin Hu took a deep breath and asked curiously. "Lei Ming is just a small character, Qin Lao is the big fish. Only by taking care of this big fish will the Song family feel pain, otherwise, the Song family will still do these small actions in the future," Tang Zhang said with a faint smile. Lin Hu seemed to understand. However, Wu understood. Now that Tang Zhang no longer had the backing of the Ye family, and also had the identity of a cultivator, the Song family was so unbridled. Since he didn't have a backer, then he would be his own backer. After hurting the Song family, he would know that he was afraid and wouldn't do these small actions again. Of course, the Song family would definitely hate Tang Zhang to death and would definitely think of ways to deal with Tang Zhang. However, the Song family would not play this kind of small trick again, because small tricks were always difficult to use, and would not be able to shake Tang Zhang. Furthermore, small tricks could easily cause Tang Zhang to take revenge, and the Song family had a large business and many people. If Tang Zhang wanted to take revenge, it would be too easy, and the gains would not make up for the losses. Tang Zhang and Dou Wu both understood this logic. Seeing the carriage of people leave, Tang Zhang and Wu returned to the car. Tang Zhang did not let Wu go back, because he knew that the other party would definitely not leave, and he could not order him to leave. "Where are we going now?" Wu asked. Lei Ming said that this big fish is hiding at the provincial party secretary's place. "Of course, we have to pay a visit to this governor," Tang Zhang said with a smile. He started the car and sped towards his destination. At this moment, Yu Sha was in an uproar. The news of Lei Ming's death was like a spring breeze blowing through the streets and alleys. However, many people did not know the specific details. Only a few related personnel knew. As for the witnesses, they were all ordered to keep their mouths shut. She knew that he wouldn't come here for no reason. This time, he definitely wasn't here to look for her, but for something more important. She couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. After the winter break, she didn't stay in the capital alone. Instead, she returned to Yusha under her father's persuasion. Because she was not on good terms with her father, she rarely returned home. But this time, her father persuaded her again and again. In addition, the relationship between Lu Qingmei and Tang Zheng had improved by leaps and bounds. She was in a good mood, so she agreed to her father's request. "What are you doing here?" Lu Qingmei looked suspiciously at the marshal behind Tang Zheng and frowned. "I'm here to find someone." "Who?" "A member of the Song family hiding in the provincial party committee secretary's house." Tian Shuji's house. Lu Qingmei was very astonished. As the second in command of the province, her father had a lot of friction with the first in command, Tian Shuji. Moreover, both sides lived in the same provincial party committee courtyard, so of course they would understand each other. She was more clear than Tang Zheng on the power of a provincial party committee secretary, so when she heard that Tang Zheng was going to his house to find a member of the Song family, she immediately became vigilant. "Why are you looking for that person?" "Kill him." "Ah." Lu Qingmei turned pale with fright and almost cried out. She immediately covered her mouth and fearfully said, "Why do you want to kill him? Moreover, you're too daring. You dare to charge into the provincial party committee secretary's house and kill him." Tang Zheng was expressionless as he firmly said, "This person must be killed." "You." Lu Qingmei speechlessly rolled her eyes. She knew that since he had already made up his mind, it would be useless for her to persuade him. Tang Zheng was such a person. He could be muddle-headed over small matters, but he would never change his mind because of a person's words. If it was in the past, Lu Qingmei would definitely shout and forcefully stop Tang Zheng when she heard that he wanted to kill someone. But now that she was also a cultivator, many of her views had subtly changed. Moreover, she knew that Tang Zheng was not a bloodthirsty person, so this person must be a threat to him. "You're going to rush in and kill that person in front of Tian Shuji?" Lu Qingmei curiously asked. Tang Zheng nodded. At this time, Lu Qingmei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She stretched out her slender finger and tapped Tang Zheng's forehead as she angrily said, "You're too careless. Although I don't know what the reason is, you absolutely can't rush in and kill someone. This will cause a huge uproar. If I don't do this, could it be that I have to wait for a long time and wait for the governor to leave home before I take action? A long night is fraught with problems. I don't want to delay." Tang Zheng helplessly said. Lu Qingmei smiled. Her eyes rolled as she proudly said, "I say you're smart, but sometimes you're really stupid. You don't have a way, but I have a way. You must know that this is my territory. Is it okay?" Tang Zheng was half believing and half doubtful. Lu Qingmei glared at him and said, "You don't believe me, right? Just wait for me. Just now I saw that Tian Shuji has already returned home. In a moment I'll have him leave home and then you can take action." Seeing her solemn vow, Tang Zheng no longer doubted her and nodded to show that he understood. It was better to avoid trouble. If he could quietly kill Qin Lao, then there was no need to make a big fuss. Lu Qingmei was overjoyed as she said, "Just wait for me. Watch me. Wait for me for a moment. I'll be right out." Finished speaking, she directly returned home. Governor Lu sat on the sofa reading the newspaper. Seeing his daughter return, he curiously raised his head and asked, "Qingmei, didn't you say you wanted to go out and get some fresh air? Why did you come back?" "There's something I need to do. Whatever it is, we'll talk about it tomorrow. You should rest well today. I've already made an appointment with your Uncle Yang to eat together tomorrow. Xiao Yu finally came back from abroad. Tomorrow you two should meet. You're both young and should interact with each other." "You're not young anymore," Governor Lu solemnly said. Lu Qingmei's expression suddenly changed as she said, "Didn't I just say it? If you want to go, then go by yourself." "I don't want to go." Don't think that I don't understand that this is a disguised blind date. I've already told you that I already have a boyfriend." Governor Lu's expression sank as he said, "What boyfriend? You're still talking about that student of yours, right?" "Nonsense, I've already told you time and time again that you and him won't end up together." Xiaoyu came back from abroad, and not only did he study abroad, he also worked abroad for many years. He's mature and steady. This time he came back to start his own business. This is a true young talent. He's much better than that whatever student of yours. Lu Qingmei curled her lips and retorted, "Tang Zheng is much better than him. It's just that you're looking at people through colored glasses and turning a blind eye to it. Isn't it just the top scorer of the college entrance examination? Ordinary people would think that the top scorer of the college entrance examination is amazing, but I've seen too many of them. They only know how to study and may not have much success in the future. I've seen many top scorers enter society and become mediocre." Governor Lu said disapprovingly. "Can we not talk about this matter? I'm looking for you for business. Didn't you say today that you wanted to talk to Tian Shuji about something? Since you're free tonight, why don't you ask him out to talk about business?" Lu Qingmei slyly winked as she suggested. Governor Lu was surprised. He looked at his daughter curiously and asked, "Why did you think of this matter?" "I suddenly thought of it. You've never cared about my work before." Governor Lu looked at her like she was an alien. "Can't I care about it now?" Governor Lu was overjoyed. His daughter cared about his work. This meant that there was hope for the relationship between father and daughter to improve. "Qingmei, I'm really happy." "If you're happy, then why don't you go talk about business? Otherwise, who knows how many people will come to pay their New Year's greetings during the day. It's only at night that we can have some peace and quiet. It's the perfect time to talk about business." Presumably, Tian Shuji is also in the same situation. Governor Lu laughed, "Good. Since my daughter has ordered, then of course I won't dare to disobey. I'll go to Tian Shuji's house right now." "What are you going to do at his house? Isn't it better to go outside and find a quiet place? A home is a place to live, not an office." Governor Lu didn't suspect anything. He nodded happily and said, "That makes sense. I'll go ask him out immediately. Then I'll go out and take a walk." Watching Lu Qingmei walk out of the house, Governor Lu smiled and muttered to himself, "After all, my daughter has grown up and knows how to be considerate of me. For her happiness, I can't let her be with that student. Tomorrow's appointment with old Yang is imperative. After she compares Xiaoyu and that student, she'll naturally know who's better and who's worse." Lu Qingmei came back. She was like a child who had presented a treasure. She hid in the shadows with Tang Zheng. She pointed to a house not far away and said, "Tian Shuji's house is there. Let's wait for a while. He'll leave the house and then we can take action." Tang Zheng curiously asked, "How did you do it?" Lu Qingmei proudly raised her head and proudly said, "I have my own plans." After pausing for a moment, she looked at Marshall and asked, "How did she come to your side?" She knew Marshall and knew that she came from the mysterious Marshall organization. She was the natural enemy of cultivators. Marshall heard this and glanced at her. She didn't say a word. It was as if she didn't put Lu Qingmei in her eyes. "She'll stay by my side for the time being. But don't worry about her. She's no longer a member of the Marshall organization. So she won't be a threat to us." Tang Zheng explained. Lu Qingmei seemed to understand, but she still didn't have a good expression. She tightly held on to Tang Zheng's hand and stared at the target building. She was both nervous and curious. Ever since she started cultivating, she hadn't had the chance to carry out a mission with Tang Zheng. So this was the first time she felt that it was fun and she was looking forward to it. She didn't know what kind of situation she would face later. In the past, it was always him who protected me. This time I can help him. I'm really happy. she silently thought. After a moment, her expression suddenly became cold as she said, Tian Shuji has left home. A person walked out, got into a car and left. Move. Chapter 564. In the darkness of the night, the three people quietly approached the target. The door was closed, but the light inside the building was still on, indicating that there must be someone inside. Is there anyone else in the house? Tang Zheng asked. Tian Shuji's family is not in Jade Sands. Other than him, there is also a housekeeper responsible for daily life. Oh, that means that there is only the housekeeper and Qin Lao in the house. Everyone be careful. We will enter from the second floor and try not to alarm others. Tang Zheng warned. Lu Qingmei was eager to try. After cultivating for so long, this was the first time she put it into practice. Her adrenaline rapidly soared, making her extremely excited. Wu took the lead and jumped onto the second-floor balcony as if he was walking on flat ground. Lu Qingmei followed suit and jumped. Her toes touched the wall, but she suddenly panicked and almost fell down. Tang Zheng's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He immediately hugged her and flew onto the balcony together. Lu Qingmei's face was red. She was full of confidence, but she did not think that such a simple action would cause her to almost drop the chain. Tang Zheng understood her mistake. Combining theory with practice was not something that could be accomplished in a short period of time. A little mistake was inevitable. Patting her shoulder, he comforted her with his eyes. Lu Qingmei's heart skipped a beat. She understood and was greatly encouraged. She firmly nodded her head, full of confidence. Tang Zheng brought her along this time not because he expected her to be of much help, but mainly to train her. After all, she may encounter danger in the future, so she shouldn't rush at the last minute. The three people entered the room. The room was pitch black, but with the help of the light from the window, they could vaguely distinguish everything in the room. They smoothly passed through the room and arrived at the corridor. Listening carefully, they heard a sound coming from the kitchen on the first floor. Housekeeper. The three people slightly poked their heads out and saw the busy figure in the kitchen. Which room is the target in? Lu Qingmei asked in a low voice. Tang Zheng hesitated. There were a lot of rooms in this small building. If he searched them one by one, it would be easy to alert the enemy. If he let Qin Lao escape, it would not be easy to find him again. Suddenly, Tang Zheng saw the nanny come out of the kitchen with a tray and go straight to the second floor. Be careful, go back to your room. The three of them immediately retreated into the dark room and quietly closed the door, leaving only a small gap. He saw the nanny carrying a tray into a room at the end of the second floor. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. The nanny was delivering supper to someone. Without a doubt, the person enjoying such treatment was definitely Qin Lao. After a while, the nanny left and went downstairs. The three of them came out again. Go knock out the nanny so that she won't hear anything. Tang Zheng said to Marshall. I'll go. I can handle such a small matter. Lu Qingmei volunteered. Tang Zheng pondered for a moment and nodded. Be careful. Don't let her see your face. Just knock her out. Don't take her life. Don't worry. I promise to complete the task. Lu Qingmei gently patted her chest. She was full of confidence. After a moment, Lu Qingmei left. The nanny had already fainted on the sofa in the living room. Tang Zheng gave Lu Qingmei a thumbs up. Then, the three of them walked straight to the end of the corridor without making a sound. Dong dong. Tang Zheng gently knocked on the door. Just now, the nanny did this. Sure enough, Qin Lao's voice came from the room. Come in. Tang Zheng casually opened the door and walked in. Qin Lao was eating supper. He subconsciously turned his head. He thought it was the nanny. But when he saw Tang Zheng and the other two, he was stunned. But his reaction was extremely fast. He immediately got up and rushed to the window. Qin Lao was not clear about what happened in the Lei Ming family. This was because he was not well informed in Yusha. When Lei Ming died, no one came to inform him. So he openly stayed in Tian Shuji's house. Moreover, he was in the mood to eat supper. Otherwise, if he knew that Tang Zheng came to Yusha and Lei Ming died, he would definitely leave Yusha and return to Beijing. These few days, he had already planned everything with Tian Shuji. He had two plans to deal with Tang Zheng. One was in the dark and the other was in the light. Lei Ming was in the dark, while Tian Shuji was in the light. Lei Ming gathered the underground world to retaliate against Tang Zheng. Tian Shuji used the government's policies and methods to deal a heavy blow to Tang Zheng's industry. With two approaches at the same time, it was guaranteed that Tang Zheng would be badly battered and suffer. Since Secretary Tian was a regional official, of course, he had his own backing. However, he didn't mind having the Song family as his backing. Moreover, the Song family's performance during this period was particularly eye-catching. Many people knew that the Song family was bound to rise and even surpass the Yan family. If they were to rely on them now, when the Song family soared in the future, they would be greatly benefited. It was not an extravagant hope for them to reach a higher level and enter the highest level of power in the country. Moreover, in Tian Shuji's view, Tang Zheng was insignificant. This was because the things that Tang Zheng did were very secretive. Ordinary people would not know the inside story, let alone his ability. When Qin Lao saw Tang Zheng, he knew that he did not come with good intentions. Since Tang Zheng dared to come here, he definitely did not come here to chat. He came here to kill. After experiencing the ordinary balance courtyard incident, Qin Lao had already recognized the cruel reality. Tang Zheng had risen in a short period of time and had completely surpassed him. He was able to kill the Chu family's patriarch not completely by luck. If he were to face him, he would definitely not be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, when Qin Lao saw Tang Zheng, he did not say anything and directly rushed to the window, preparing to escape. But how could Tang Zheng let him get what he wanted? He used the earth shrinking technique and arrived first, blocking in front of the window sill. The War Soul sword directly greeted the other party. Qin Lao was aghast and hurriedly dodged. A cold light flashed in his hand and he also revealed his weapon. A long sword that shone with a cold light fiercely trembled. Like a poisonous snake spitting out its tongue, it instantly blossomed into sword flowers and blocked in front of Battle Soul. Both of them were experts in using the sword. Old Man Qin had seen the sword technique of the famous sword god before, so he had a unique understanding of the way of the sword. Therefore, when he first saw Tang Zheng use the heaven-flying immortal's sword technique, he knew that this sword technique was exceptionally exquisite. It even surpassed the sword technique that he had practiced for many years and coveted it. Now that he was fighting with Tang Zheng, he did not hold back at all and used all his skills. Qin Lao's sword technique was not very fast, but it was very accurate. Every move and every style was targeted, greeting Tang Zheng's vital points. How could Tang Zheng be afraid of him? In terms of the way of the sword, Qin Lao's sword technique was not even 1/10,000th of the heaven-flying immortal's sword technique. Thus, when faced with Old Man Qin's attacks, Tang Zheng was able to deal with them with ease. Move by move, he counterattacked. Suddenly, the house was filled with sword images, and the sword wind was biting cold. The house suffered, as the roof and walls were riddled with holes, as if they had been chiseled by knives and axes. The furniture was also reduced to piles of debris. Marshall stared at Tang Zheng. A battle of this level was quite beneficial to her. If she had the chance, she could also comprehend a lot of essence, which would be of great benefit to her cultivation. She stood at the door, and the sharp sword wind disappeared without a trace in front of her, unable to hurt her in the slightest. Lu Qingmei was obviously not as calm as Marshall. Although she was also a cultivator, she rarely saw this kind of battle. Especially when it was so intense, if she was not careful, she would lose her life. The nervousness in her heart could be imagined. She clenched her fists tightly, and her palms were already sweating. Tang Zheng won't be in danger, right? Lu Qingmei probed in a low voice. Marshall glanced at her and did not say a word. Lu Qingmei curled her lips and thought to herself, what are you being so arrogant for? I will definitely surpass you in the future. Moreover, a woman shamelessly followed by a man's side. Who knew what she was up to? As a woman, she naturally did not want to see a woman following by her beloved's side. Moreover, this woman was not only skilled, but also very beautiful. This threat was too great. Unknowingly, Tang Zheng had already gradually gained the upper hand. The exquisiteness of the heaven-flying immortal's sword technique was displayed incisively and vividly. This made Qin Lao realize that he had underestimated this sword technique. He was filled with regret. At that time, if he was not afraid of the master behind Tang Zheng, he would have killed this brat and seized this sword technique. Then, his cultivation would definitely have reached a higher level. How would he have suffered this calamity of killing a monk? Tang Zheng, you really want to kill me? Qin Lao unwillingly asked in a cold voice. Since I am already here, if I don't take your life, wouldn't it be a waste of time? Moreover, Lei Ming and his son are already dead. They are waiting for you on the road to the Yellow Springs. Since you are conspiring to deal with me, then let's be companions on the road to the Yellow Springs. Tang Zheng said with killing intent. Qin Lao's heart trembled as he exclaimed, you already killed them? Tang Zheng coldly laughed and did not reply. However, the answer was beyond doubt. Qin Lao was filled with regret. When Lei Ming volunteered to deal with Tang Zheng, Qin Lao tacitly agreed. He even knew that the other side would not succeed. He only wanted to give Tang Zheng some trouble. However, he did not expect that Tang Zheng's reaction would be so fierce and so fast. He directly killed his way to Yusha. Not only did he take the lives of the father and son pair, he also did not want to let him go. I am a member of the Song family. If you kill me, you will be in great trouble. Qin Lao repeated the same old words as he threatened. Tang Zheng disdainfully laughed and said, I will kill you to show the Song family that I, Tang Zheng, am not to be trifled with. First, I will kill you, this old dog of the Song family. Then, they will naturally know the pain. Qin Lao's face was deathly pale. This time, he was definitely going to die. However, he was unwilling. Suddenly, he let out a loud roar. His long sword lit up with a bright light, just like the sun. His hair and beard stood up, and his wrinkled face suddenly flushed red. His entire body swelled up, and his bones crackled. In an instant, he actually grew a few centimeters taller. Holding the sword with both hands, the long sword's light greatly increased. It was as if the long sword had become longer and wider. A powerful sword wind rose from the ground and wrapped around the long sword. The momentum was shocking. Kill! Qin Lao roared. His body and the long sword seemed to become one as he charged towards Tang Zheng. The strong wind blew. Tang Zheng was like a small boat in the middle of a vast ocean. It was as if he would be torn to pieces by the strong wind at any time. Tang Zheng did not move. Instead, he quietly closed his eyes and stabbed out with his sword. It was very ordinary, like a child casually poking a tree branch. However, when the war soul's sword pierced into the strong wind was immediately torn apart. The two swords fiercely collided with each other. Kacha! The long sword was shattered. The war soul's sword went straight in. Puchi! Chapter 565. The war soul's sword pierced through Qin Lao's heart, and blood flowed out along the blade. Qin Lao's eyes instantly dimmed, his facial features twisted, almost squeezing together, and his face became as pale as paper. He lowered his head with difficulty, looked at his chest, and said in disbelief, I actually died in the hands of a brat like you. This is you courting death. If you didn't come to ordinary balance, you old dog could still struggle at death's door for a few more days. However, don't worry, you go first, I will definitely send the Song family down to accompany you. Tang Zheng said calmly. Puff. Qin Lao spat out a mouthful of blood. His life was rapidly fading away. You still want to deal with the Song family, Tang Zheng, you will definitely die miserably. Young master and patriarch will not let you off. Qin Lao gnashed his teeth, weakly spitting out ruthless words. Tang Zheng chuckled, then you should clearly see who will die and who will live in the end. With that, the War Soul's sword pulled back, causing blood to spurt out, but it automatically fell in front of Tang Zheng, as if it was blocked by an invisible wall. Qin Lao's head tilted, and he completely lost his life, falling to the ground with a loud bang, blood flowing all over the ground. Lu Qingmei covered her mouth, resisting the urge to scream. Her legs went soft, and she hurriedly supported herself against the wall, not falling to the ground. Although she had already imagined the result, seeing the murder with her own eyes still made her heart skip a beat. After all, she was just an ordinary person before, and seeing this scene for the first time, anyone would have a process of adapting. Marshall was indifferent, but in her heart, she seemed to have understood something. These two people's cultivation was higher than hers, so seeing this life and death battle, she still had some gains. Tang Zheng, you killed him, what should we do now? Lu Qingmei asked in a daze. Tang Zheng held her hand and said, let's leave this place first. Tonight, the provincial committee courtyard will definitely be very lively. Lu Qingmei hurriedly nodded, eager to leave this place as soon as possible. There was no doubt that when Tian Shuji returned and saw this scene, he would definitely be furious and thoroughly investigate the murderer. Of course, no one would suspect Tang Zheng. Even if they did, they wouldn't have any evidence and couldn't do anything to him. Let's go quickly. I'll drive, Lu Qingmei urged. The few of them left the small building without leaving any traces behind. Then, Lu Qingmei went home and drove her car. The three of them immediately left the courtyard of the provincial party committee. After a while, the security personnel who heard the fighting rushed into the building. When they saw the person lying in a pool of blood, they were scared out of their wits. This was the home of the secretary of the provincial party committee, the most powerful person in this place. Someone had died in his home. This was going to cause a big earthquake. Who knew how many people would lose their jobs because of this? Of course, Tang Zheng wouldn't care about these things. The three of them had already arrived at the 5-star hotel and booked 2 rooms. Just now, Lu Qingmei was trembling all the way. In the end, it was Tang Zheng who took over her driving and safely arrived at the hotel. Marshall was sent to the next room by Tang Zheng. Then, he helped Lu Qingmei to sit on a chair. He patted the back of her hand and comforted her, don't worry, you'll get used to it in the future. Lu Qingmei took a deep breath and stared at him in a daze. She nervously asked, am I very useless? So scared. Caressing her cheek, Tang Zheng encouraged her, idiot, you are already very brave. You have always been a brave girl. I saw that she didn't have the slightest reaction just now. She was indifferent. I'm far inferior to her. Lu Qingmei pointed to the next room and said. Tang Zheng laughed out loud, she is different from you. She has lived in this kind of circle since she was young, so she is already used to it. Seeing that the person she loved did not mind, Lu Qingmei squeezed out a smile and said, I will definitely work hard in the future. I will definitely not be a burden to you. I will be your right-hand man. I will not let you take the risk alone. Tang Zheng felt warmth in his heart as he tightly hugged her in his arms. Lu Qingmei was as docile as a kitten as she laid in his arms. She raised her head and looked at his hard face. Her heart felt hot as she took the initiative to kiss him. After experiencing the thrilling scene just now, the fear in her heart vanished into thin air in this passionate kiss and transformed into endless passion. She became particularly proactive and soon sat on top of Tang Zheng. If it was Tang Zheng who was sitting on the chair, she passionately unbuttoned Tang Zheng's clothes. Tang Zheng was not to be outdone and fought back desperately. The temperature in the room quickly rose as the two met passionately. The chair creaked as if it could not bear the two's torture and was about to fall apart at any time. Ring ring ring. Suddenly, the phone rang. Your phone is ringing. Tang Zheng panted as he reminded her. Lu Qingmei breathed out like orchids. She hung on to Tang Zheng like a pile of mud and said, "Don't worry about the phone." But the phone seemed to want to waste time with them. After pausing for a few seconds, it rang again. Clearly, the other party had a persevering spirit. Who is calling? They really don't know how to pick the time. They really ruin a good thing. Tang Zheng cursed. Lu Qingmei also stopped what she was doing and looked at Tang Zheng with hidden bitterness. You answer it. Otherwise, if it keeps ringing, I will have a shadow in my heart when I do this in the future. Tang Zheng advised. Lu Qingmei could not help but laugh. She tapped the tip of Tang Zheng's nose and said, "Wait." She was about to pull away to get the phone. "I'll carry you there." He hugged her and the two were still intimately joined together. When they came to the phone on the bed, Tang Zheng mischievously moved his body a few times, causing her to cry out in alarm. She hugged his shoulders with all her strength and cooperated with his naughty actions. "Shoo, it's my dad. Don't mess around." Lu Qingmei hurriedly restrained Tang Zheng and whispered. Seeing her cautious appearance, Tang Zheng could not help but smile and nod. "Hello, what's the matter?" Lu Qingmei took a deep breath and resisted the violent fluctuations in her heart. She pretended to be calm and asked. "Qingmei, where are you?" An anxious voice came from the phone. "I'm outside. I won't be going back to sleep tonight." How could Lu Qingmei let go of this opportunity to be alone with Tang Zheng? Not coming back? Then where are you going? I'm already an adult. How can I not find a place to rest? You don't need to ask. Qingmei, there was a murder in our courtyard tonight. A guest in Secretary Tian's house was killed, and the police are currently investigating, but they still don't know who the murderer is. These few days, Yusha isn't very peaceful, so you must be careful. If there's anything, give me a call. Also, remember the appointment tomorrow at noon. You can't let your Uncle Yang's family wait too long. When the time comes, we'll meet at the restaurant, so you must not forget. Didn't I tell you already? I won't go. Lu Qingmei impatiently said. I've already made an appointment with them. Moreover, Xiao Yu also wants to see you. Xiao Yu is very outstanding. You definitely won't be disappointed when you see him. Governor Lu sincerely said. Seeing her father pester her, Lu Qingmei looked at Tang Zheng and her heart moved. She said, "Okay, I'll go when the time comes." Tang Zheng also heard the conversation and immediately guessed that her family was forcing her to go on a blind date. He could not help but wrinkle his eyebrows and deliberately straighten his body. Lu Qingmei let out a low cry of surprise and then quickly covered her mouth. She looked at Tang Zheng flirtatiously as if to say that he was too bad. Qingmei, what's wrong? Governor Lu heard the cry of surprise and quickly asked. Oh, nothing. I'll hang up first. Lu Qingmei resisted the waves of strange feeling and hung up the phone. She immediately hatefully stared at Tang Zheng and said, You actually played dirty. You almost caused me to be exposed. You're going on a blind date. Can't I express my opposition? Tang Zheng said. Lu Qingmei froze for a moment and then immediately let out a bell-like laughter. She blinked and mischievously asked, What, are you jealous? I'm jealous. Tang Zheng bluntly said. Lu Qingmei bit her lips. She was both surprised and pleasantly surprised as she said, I really didn't think that you would be jealous. But, I'm very happy. Him being jealous means that he really likes her and cares about her. Of course, she would be very happy. Since you know that I'm going on a blind date, then aren't you afraid that I'll be seduced away by a handsome guy? Lu Qingmei deliberately asked. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and domineeringly said, You are my, Tang Zheng's woman. If anyone dares to take you away, I will definitely chase them to the ends of the earth. Lu Qingmei charmingly smiled and angrily said, Rude and unreasonable. I am rude and unreasonable. Tonight, I will make sure that you won't have the heart to think about other handsome guys tomorrow. Tang Zhang's attack immediately became fierce like a storm. Lu Qingmei's screams immediately echoed in the room. When the sun was high in the sky, the two slowly woke up. Lu Qingmei laid on his chest and said, "You really are bad. After sleeping, I still feel weak all over. Now you know how powerful I am. Let's see if you still dare to think about other handsome guys." Tang Zhang said with a face full of pride. "I don't want to, but I can't stand my father introducing me to other handsome guys all day long. Since you are afraid that I will be taken away by other handsome guys, then accompany me to see a handsome guy today and help me give some advice." This was the idea that she had thought of last night. Since she was going on a blind date, then she would take Tang Zheng with her. This would make the other party give up and once again confirm her relationship with Tang Zheng in front of her father. In the past, Tang Zheng was just a fake boyfriend, a shield, but now he was worthy of the name. Tang Zheng agreed without hesitation. For his woman, of course, he had the obligation to drive away those annoying flies. However, he is an overseas returnee, very excellent. Lu Qingmei joked. So what if he is an overseas returnee? I have a sea turtle under my command. Tang Zheng disagreed. Gui Qiansui was a genuine sea turtle. You can rest assured that your man is excellent enough to blind their eyes. Hee, good, I will wait and see. You blind their eyes. Lu Qingmei was eager to try. Near noon, the two arrived at the agreed restaurant. This time, Tang Zheng had a hard time persuading Wu not to follow them. Just now, along the way, there were many armed policemen patrolling the streets. It was obvious that yesterday's incident caused the entire city to be on high alert. Chapter 566. Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei immediately saw this person. Lu Qingmei said in a low voice, "He is Yang Xiaoyu. The Yang family and my family have been friends for generations. Back then, Uncle Yang and my father served in the army together and were comrades." "What a handsome guy," Tang Zheng said with a smile. He couldn't help but blush with shame. Why were there so many handsome guys in the world? Someone like him who could only be considered delicate and pretty immediately paled in comparison. The young masters of the large families were like this, and even this Yang Xiaoyu was the same. Being handsome doesn't make a living. Moreover, I think you're much more handsome than him. Lu Qingmei held Tang Zheng's hand and said while looking at him with infatuation. Yang Xiaoyu saw Lu Qingmei and his face lit up with joy. He quickly walked over. Suddenly, his expression froze as he saw the two holding hands. However, he immediately returned to normal and walked over to greet them. "Qingmei, long time no see. I'm so happy to see you. You've become prettier again." As he spoke, he revealed a charming smile. Lu Qingmei calmly said, "Yes, long time no see. Let me introduce you. This is Yang Xiaoyu and this is my boyfriend, Tang Zheng." Boyfriend? Although Yang Xiaoyu had already guessed a bit, when he personally heard these three words, a strange expression still flashed across his face. Lu Qingmei leaned on Tang Zheng's shoulder like a little bird and said, "Yes, my boyfriend, friend." Yang Xiaoyu resentfully said, "I really didn't think that you already had a boyfriend. Didn't Uncle Lu say that you were single? How could he know about my situation? Uncle Yang and the others must have been waiting for a long time. Let's go in first." Lu Qingmei secretly smiled proudly as she held Tang Zheng's hand and walked into the restaurant. Yang Xiaoyu's eyes flashed with disappointment as he unwillingly stared at Tang Zheng's back. He thought to himself that this person still looked very young and wasn't very handsome. Later on, I want to see just what kind of ability he has. Qingmei might have been deceived by him. Later on, I will definitely expose his true face. When the three of them arrived at the private room, there were already 3 people sitting inside. Tang Zheng recognized Governor Lu. The other 2 middle-aged men had extraordinary bearings and resembled Yang Xiaoyu. They must be his parents. Governor Lu, 3 people, turned their heads to look, but their expressions suddenly froze. Father Yang and Mother Yang's faces showed suspicion. They did not know Tang Zheng's identity. Governor Lu obviously recognized Tang Zheng, and anger flashed in his eyes. He glared at his daughter in displeasure. What nonsense! She actually brought this Tang Zheng here. She was sincerely going against him. Uncle Yang, Auntie, Happy New Year. Lu Qingmei greeted them politely. The other party immediately smiled and said, Qingmei, long time no see. You're becoming more and more beautiful. Lu Qingmei smiled faintly. Thank you. Let me introduce him to everyone. Seeing that Lu Qingmei was about to introduce Tang Zheng, Governor Lu immediately realized what was going to happen. He quickly stood up and said, Qingmei, come with me. I have something to say to you. Without any explanation, he pulled Lu Qingmei and walked out. Sit down for a while. Lu Qingmei said to Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng smiled and nodded, indicating that he was fine. In the room, the 4 people looked at each other and the atmosphere immediately became awkward. Father Yang and Mother Yang were also smart people. From the way Lu Qingmei looked at Tang Zheng, they could already guess what was going on. They were all experienced people and naturally understood what those loving eyes meant. Yang Xiaoyu stared at Tang Zheng as if he wanted to see through him. Tang Zheng was calm and collected, completely unaffected by the other party's gaze. Yang Xiaoyu's gaze gradually became sharp. He thought that the more this person appears to be calm and indifferent, the more problems there must be. He must find a way to expose his disguise. Lu Qingmei was pulled to a corner by her father. Governor Lu looked at her seriously and asked, Qingmei, why did you bring him here? He's my boyfriend. Of course I can bring him here. Lu Qingmei lightly said. Nonsense. How many times have I told you? He's your student. Don't use him as a shield to anger me. Who said he's a shield? He's my boyfriend. My real boyfriend. Lu Qingmei's expression became cold as she seriously said. Governor Lu suddenly stared blankly. Before, he could be sure that the two were deliberately mystifying and deceiving him. But at this moment, looking at his daughter's resolute and serious eyes, he knew that she was not lying. This meant that the two of them really did become real. The thing he was most worried about had happened. In truth, he had never put Tang Zheng in his eyes before. He thought that after the two of them were separated for a period of time, everything would naturally fade away. But how did the two of them get together again? It had only been half a year, so what exactly happened that caused the relationship between the two of them to advance by leaps and bounds? I don't care what kind of bewitching potion that little brat gave you. In any case, there is absolutely no possibility between the two of you. I will not agree to this matter. Governor Lu resolutely said. Lu Qingmei curled her lips. She looked at him with ridicule and said, This is my own matter. Even if you are the head of a province, even if you have great power, you have no right to interfere. You. Governor Lu's face was red with anger. He gasped for breath. In short, that little brat is not worthy of you. I will let him understand the gap between you and him. Is that so? You really think your daughter is that outstanding? Of course. I'm afraid it's not that he is not worthy of me. It's that I am not worthy of him. He is much more outstanding than you can imagine. He is thousands of times more outstanding than the so-called young elites in your eyes. Lu Qingmei jokingly said. How could Governor Lu believe her words? He gave a heavy snort and decided that he would make Tang Zheng eat a loss and make him recognize reality. Let's go back. Otherwise we'll keep them waiting. Lu Qingmei walked towards the private room with large strides. Governor Lu's face was gloomy as he followed behind her. The private room was completely silent. The 3 people from the Yang family were all silently observing Tang Zheng, trying to figure out his origins. Lu Qingmei naturally sat beside Tang Zheng. Governor Lu suppressed his anger and did not release it. But in the next moment, Lu Qingmei's words made him seethe with anger. He only heard Lu Qingmei smile at the Yang family couple and say, "Uncle Yang, Auntie, I haven't finished introducing you. This is my boyfriend, Tang Zheng." The other party's face immediately flashed with embarrassment. Lu Qingmei saying this meant that her attitude was very firm. That meant that this blind date was a joke and the other party was already taken. "Hee, little Tang, where do you work?" Father Yang resisted the awkwardness and asked. "I'm still a student. I don't have a job." "Student?" Father Yang was stunned for a moment. "Oh, then where are you studying for a doctorate?" "Doctorate?" Tang Zheng was slightly stunned. He immediately understood that the other party did not think of him as an undergraduate at all. But he did not want to hide it. He calmly said, "I'm still a freshman." "Freshman?" The three people from the Yang family all exclaimed at the same time. Because Lu Qingmei had already graduated from college, they preconceived that Tang Zheng was definitely not young. But they never thought that he was still a freshman. The age gap between the two was too big. Yang Xiaoyu's face was filled with joy. He was even more certain that Lu Qingmei had been deceived by Tang Zheng. What ability did a freshman have to gain Lu Qingmei's trust? It must be known that Lu Qingmei was not a teenage girl. Other than deceiving, he really could not think of any good points about Tang Zheng that could move Lu Qingmei. But Father Yang did not have such shallow thoughts. He was a businessman and had seen many people. From the first time he saw Tang Zheng, he felt a trace of an unusual temperament from him. He did not seem like a freshman at all. This strong contrast made him frown. He suspiciously looked at Tang Zheng. He really could not guess Tang Zheng's background. Yang Xiaoyu, however, thought that his opportunity had come. He proudly said, "I've seen many freshmen who are ignorant and incompetent all day long. They only know how to talk big and are especially good at deceiving girls." When Lu Qingmei heard this, she immediately frowned. These words were too obvious. Tang Zheng squeezed her hand and signaled her to calm down. He said with a smile, "Yes, this kind of student is really too hateful. But I don't have such a person around me. It seems that you have a lot of experience. Could it be that when you were a freshman, Yang Xiaoyu was furious?" He stood up and asked, "What do you mean?" "Oh, nothing. Since you brought this topic up, I'll discuss it with you." Tang Zheng shrugged and said motionlessly, "Xiaoyu, sit down." Father Yang reprimanded in a low voice. His son's life abroad was too leisurely. He was actually angered by a few words. Compared to this Tang Zheng, his shrewdness was obviously too shallow. Lu Qingmei secretly gave Tang Zheng a thumbs up. Flowers were blooming in her heart. "Since you look down on my boyfriend, then I'll let you know how powerful he is today." Lu Qingmei suddenly felt a sense of excitement. "Qingmei, he's also the #1 student. How did you meet him?" Mother Yang saw her son being deflated and hurriedly interjected. Lu Qingmei foolishly looked at Tang Zheng and said, "He was my student in high school. A teacher-student relationship. Moreover, it was a female teacher and a male student. It was even rarer than a male teacher and a female student. After all, the age gap between men and women was not small." Governor Lu suddenly had the urge to find a hole to hide in. Fortunately, Father Yang was an old friend of many years. If his colleagues in the government knew that his daughter found a student younger than her as a boyfriend, then wouldn't he be an old cow eating young grass? Where would he put his old face? He couldn't help but inwardly sigh at the misfortune of his family. The three members of the Yang family were greatly shocked by this news. Yang Xiaoyu's eyes revealed an undisguised anger and slight frown. Yang Xiaoyu's father originally thought that Tang Zheng's identity was not simple, but after knowing that he was Lu Qingmei's student, this guess disappeared like smoke into thin air. This was because he knew where Lu Qingmei used to teach. Although most of the students in that school were rich, the level of those rich people was still too low in his eyes. Chapter 567. When the dishes were placed on the table, everyone's wine glasses were filled and they each drank a cup. Father Yang smiled mysteriously and winked at his son, saying, Xiaoyu, didn't you bring back a gift for Qingmei? Why aren't you taking it out? Young Xiaoyu understood and hurriedly picked up a beautifully wrapped gift box from the side. He arrogantly glanced at Tang Zheng with a proud smile and said, Qingmei, this is a New Year's gift that I specially bought for you. I hope you like it. Governor Lu saw this and smiled knowingly, praising, Xiaoyu, you're too thoughtful. Qingmei, why aren't you thanking Xiaoyu? Lu Qingmei wrinkled her brows and looked at Tang Zheng before shaking her head. I'm sorry, I can't accept it. Yang Xiaoyu's expression slightly changed but quickly returned to normal and said, Qingmei, I specially chose this for you. I'm sure you'll like it. That's right, this is Xiaoyu's kind intentions. Qingmei, just accept it. Mother Yang also supported her son. Qingmei, how can you be so rude? Why aren't you thanking Xiaoyu? Governor Lu said with an unhappy expression. Lu Qingmei snorted and remained unmoved. She pouted in a fit of pique and immediately fell into an impasse. Tang Zheng gently drank a mouthful of soup and raised his head. He glanced at the gift box and calmly said, Since you don't want it, then don't take it. Lu Qingmei was his woman and no one could force her to accept something she didn't like. Hearing these words, Lu Qingmei's eyebrows danced in delight, but the other people's expressions greatly changed. Governor Lu stared hatefully at Tang Zheng. This little brat really doesn't know what's good for him. Letting you sit here and eat is already giving you face, yet you still dare to mess around. This is too much. However, due to his dignity as an elder, he didn't directly scold him and restrained himself. Yang Xiaoyu, on the other hand, didn't have the same temperament and immediately exploded. Brat, what is the meaning of this? This is my gift to Qingmei. Who are you to tell her what to do? Tang Zheng glanced at him indifferently. He didn't like this Yang Xiaoyu from the start. This person was too arrogant and acted as if everyone else should be a head lower than him. This was the style of many nouveau riches. He could flaunt his strength in front of others, but if he wanted to do so in front of Tang Zheng and even have designs on his woman, then he really made a mistake. Before Tang Zheng could retaliate, Lu Qingmei had already impatiently retaliated. She couldn't bear to see her beloved being looked down upon and provoked like this. She immediately glared at Yang Xiaoyu and said, Yang Xiaoyu, what kind of attitude is this? Tang Zheng is my boyfriend, he has a name, not some brat. And my boyfriend has the right to decide whether or not I accept other people's gifts. Yang Xiaoyu was suddenly startled as if he had been hit by an invisible fist. His face turned red as he indignantly said, Qingmei, don't be fooled by his flowery words. Humph, I know what to do. I don't need you to remind me. Lu Qingmei unhappily said. Tang Zheng looked at Yang Xiaoyu with ridicule and of course held Lu Qingmei's hand and said, Qingmei, it's not worth getting angry with this kind of person. Don't be angry and hurt your body. Let's eat. You don't say, the food here is pretty good. His appearance was like a spineless foodie who only cared about the taste of the food at this critical moment. However, Lu Qingmei understood Tang Zheng's thoughts. He wasn't afraid of Yang Xiaoyu. Even if there were hundreds of Yang Xiaoyu, he wouldn't be afraid. He was just worried about the relationship between the Lu and Yang families and didn't want to make the atmosphere too awkward. But Yang Xiaoyu clearly didn't appreciate it. He placed the gift in front of Lu Qingmei and said, Qingmei, this gift is the latest handbag from LV this year. It's a global limited edition. Many socialites use this. I specially chose this for you, unlike other people who can't even bear to give a New Year's gift. Without a doubt, this kind of luxury was the favorite of many women. But Yang Xiaoyu really didn't understand Lu Qingmei. This kind of nouveau riche style gift couldn't arouse her interest at all. Instead, it made her feel disgusted. Tang Zheng's expression was calm. He wasn't angry at all because of these words, but the other person reminded him that as Lu Qingmei's man, he really didn't give her a New Year's gift. This was really a bit of a dereliction of duty. You're right. I really didn't prepare a gift for Qingmei. When we go back, I'll have to put in some effort to choose a gift. Tang Zheng looked at Lu Qingmei apologetically and said. Lu Qingmei's heart warmed. She held his hand and sweetly said, no matter what you give, I'll like it. This was a public display of affection and a brazen slap in the face. She firmly rejected Yang Xiaoyu's gift, but gladly accepted Tang Zheng's gift. The difference in treatment was too big. Yang Xiaoyu felt like he had been ruthlessly slapped in the face. He said with a red face, Qingmei, don't listen to his bragging. He's just a student, what kind of gift can he give you? My gift is worth hundreds of thousands. It's 1,000,000 times better than his. Is hundreds of thousands very valuable? This is the jade bracelet he gave me. It's 1,000,000 times more valuable than yours. Lu Qingmei raised her hand and a sparkling and translucent jade bracelet slid out. This bracelet, whether it was jade or jade, was of the highest quality. If it was auctioned, it would definitely be worth several million. Everyone present was either rich or noble, so they naturally had some understanding of the hot jade market. Mother Yang was especially passionate about it. Normally, the rich ladies would often study and learn from each other. With a single glance, they could tell that this was a top-quality item. Suddenly, there was complete silence. Everyone looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. No one would believe that a student could so easily give out a gift worth over 1,000,000. Even Yang Xiaoyu didn't have such a large amount of money. Especially since Governor Lu knew about Tang Zheng's family situation, he felt that it was a fantasy. In fact, this jade bracelet's original quality was not so good. However, after Tang Zheng refined it, it was reborn and had such an extraordinary quality. In the beginning, when Tang Zheng refined these jade items, they did not have this additional effect. It was only after his cultivation had greatly increased that he was able to refine them. Now, the jade items he refined were not as simple as simply engraving a set of arrays into them. Through the meticulous refining of the 9 revolving alchemy furnace, the material was reborn and the defensive power of these jade items was increased. This was also because when Tian Chanzi passed on the refining method to Tang Zheng, he figured it out. However, these jade items could not be considered magic weapons. They only had a little bit of Fa Li. However, this was only temporary. Tang Zheng had already decided that in the future, he would diligently study the refining technique and refine enough magic weapons to equip the people around him. Now, he already had a lot of cultivators around him, but there were too few suitable magic weapons. Without magic weapons, the strength of the cultivators would be greatly reduced. In addition, the value of this jade bracelet had far exceeded the value of the jade itself. It was far from being something that could be bought with just a few million yuan. This was what the people opposite him didn't understand. In the private room, the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. The atmosphere was extremely awkward. Governor Lu hurriedly restrained his shocked expression. He coughed and broke the silence. Come, let's drink. Yang Xiaoyu took advantage of the situation and unwillingly put away the gift. He couldn't wait to immediately throw this bag into the smelly ditch. What luxury, it was just king waste. He fiercely glared at Tang Zheng, but saw the two of them looking at each other and smiling intimately. They didn't put him in their eyes at all. He couldn't help but burn with jealousy. His pupils seemed to be about to spit out fire. Father Yang was also a smart person. He didn't want to be entangled with the gift issue. He hurriedly called for them to drink. Tang Zheng, come, let's drink a few cups. He was prepared to get Tang Zheng drunk and let him make a fool of himself in front of Lu Qingmei. He even wanted to say nonsense and reveal his true colors. Father Yang thought that after being in the business world for so many years, he could easily win against this young man in drinking. Yang Xiaoyu obviously guessed his father's thoughts. He smiled sinisterly and raised his wine cup. Yes, how can we not drink during the new year? Tang Zheng, don't tell me you don't dare to drink. Provocation. He didn't believe that Tang Zheng wouldn't fall for it. Sure enough, Tang Zheng raised his wine cup and said, okay, but I'll toast to Uncle Lu first. In Tang Zheng's eyes, the three people of the Yang family were insignificant. However, he didn't want to neglect Lu Qingmei's father. His grandfather had taught him to respect the old and love the young since he was young. Governor Lu looked at Tang Zhang with a complicated expression. It seemed that after half a year, he couldn't see through this young man anymore. His eyes were so deep, and the temperament that occasionally leaked out made him, a superior, couldn't help but be moved. However, these were all insignificant. If Tang Zheng dared to have ideas about his daughter, then he would make a fool of himself. Governor Lu also saw through Father Yang's thoughts, but he didn't point it out. This was because his goal was the same as the other parties. He wanted to expose Tang Zheng's true colors and let his daughter know that she was wrong. Okay, but young people are the future of the motherland. How can 1 cup be enough? 3 cups. Governor Lu said. Tang Zheng's expression didn't change as he lightly nodded. Then we'll do as Uncle Lu says. After each of them drank 3 cups, the 2 of them didn't have any reaction. Governor Lu was testing them with alcohol, so of course he wouldn't have any reaction. These 300 cups were equivalent to 200 grams of white wine, and they drank it so quickly. However, Tang Zheng didn't have any reaction, which meant that his alcohol tolerance wasn't low. But this didn't matter. So what if he had a high alcohol tolerance? He would still be defeated in a tag team battle. As a result, the 3 people of the Yang family began a tag team battle. Even Mother Yang personally participated in the battle for her son's happiness. Lu Qingmei was originally going to stop them, but when she saw the faint smile on Tang Zheng's face, she knew that he was fine and didn't say anything. Since you want to trick Tang Zheng, then let's see who wins and who loses. The father and daughter of the Lu family watched as the 4 people drank cup after cup of white wine. The table was already filled with empty wine bottles. Tang Zheng's expression didn't change, but the faces of the 3 people in front of him were already as red as peach blossoms. Mother Yang was already lying on the table, and Yang Xiaoyu was swaying as if he was sitting on a boat. His tongue had also become big, and he was actually wantonly bragging about his experiences in the Western Empire, especially the glorious deeds of shuttling through the many Western beauties. Father Yang still had a bit of a wolf left in him. When he heard his son's drunken words, he inwardly cursed and looked across the table. Sure enough, Governor Lu's face was already dark. Father Yang hurriedly pulled his son back, wanting to stop him, but Yang Xiaoyu continued to boast shamelessly, "Dad, let me say it. I want to let this brat know how powerful I am. Qingmei is mine. Who does he think he is? He wants to steal my woman. Dream on." As he spoke, his body swayed and fell back, bringing Father Yang with him to the ground. Governor Lu was flabbergasted. Lu Qingmei heartlessly laughed and affectionately held on to Tang Zheng's arm. Tang Zheng gently put down his wine glass and lightly said, "You're drunk so quickly? You're too weak." Chapter 568. Father Yang awkwardly stood up and helped his son into a chair before he awkwardly explained, "Don't listen to his nonsense. Xiaoyu is good at everything, but he likes to boast a little." Nonsense? But no one believed it. This was the real truth after drinking. Father Yang originally wanted to let Tang Jing fall for it, but in the end, his son fell for it. He was really lifting a rock and smashing his own foot. Although Governor Lu's face was dark, it wasn't a big deal for a young man to be a little more open. After all, who hasn't been young before? This wasn't a fatal weakness. Father Yang and Governor Lu were well aware of this, so they didn't think that Yang Xiaoyu would be eliminated because of this. They just felt a little embarrassed. Only Lu Qingmei was the happiest. This Yang Xiaoyu looked like a decent person, but she didn't expect that his private life would be so licentious. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Bang! Suddenly, the door was pushed open, dispelling the awkwardness. Several police officers were standing at the door, and the person leading them was surprisingly Commissioner Hong, who had met Tang Zheng once at the Lei family's residence. When Bureau Chief Hong saw Tang Zheng, his pupils couldn't help but shrink. He immediately took out his pistol and aimed it at Tang Zheng. The others also did the same thing. One by one, the black muzzles were aimed at Tang Zheng. It was as if he made the slightest move, they would not hesitate to pull the trigger at the same time. The people in the room immediately froze. Lu Qingmei subconsciously thought that the incident last night must have been exposed, and the police must be here to arrest Tang Zheng. She stood up without hesitation and stood in front of Tang Zheng, looking at the people who came in with vigilance, like a tigress protecting her cub. Father Yang immediately sobered up a little and looked at the scene in shock. Governor Lu recognized Bureau Chief Hong, but he did not stand up. His mind was racing as he wondered why the police were here. Moreover, they had raised their guns as soon as they opened the door. This hostile atmosphere was not normal. Could it be that the enemy was targeting him? But he was the head of a province. Other than Tian Shuji, who would dare to go against him? Governor Lu's heart trembled. Wasn't Commissioner Hong one of Tian Shuji's men? Could this really be a plot against him? However, he didn't panic and asked calmly, "Old Hong, what are you doing?" Commissioner Hong's attention was completely focused on Tang Zheng from the moment he entered the door. He didn't notice the Governor Lu sitting next to him at all. When he heard this familiar voice, he was stunned for a moment. He quickly looked to the side and was shocked. It really was Governor Lu. He asked in a panic, "Governor Lu, why are you here?" Governor Lu asked with a serious expression, "Why can't I be here?" Commissioner Hong knew that he had asked the wrong question and quickly explained, "Governor Lu, we were ordered to arrest Tang Zheng." "You and him," Commissioner Hong's throat was dry. He was really King unlucky. Why was Tang Zheng with Governor Lu? Could it be that yesterday's incident had something to do with Governor Lu? If that was the case, then it would be a fight between the higher-ups. If he got involved, then he might not even have his bones left. This pool of water was too deep. "You are here to arrest Tang Zheng?" Governor Lu and Father Yang both frowned. Wasn't Tang Zheng just a student? Why were the police mobilizing so many people as if they were facing a great enemy? It didn't seem like they were here to arrest a student. It was more like they were dealing with a murderer. Father Yang's mouth curved into a smile. This was really a turn of events. Governor Lu became serious. This situation didn't make sense at all. Could it be that this was a plot against him? People in the officialdom had to be careful at every step. It was better to be safe than sorry, so he couldn't be careless at all times. "You want to arrest him? What's the matter?" Commissioner Hong hesitated for a moment, but still said truthfully, "He killed someone." "Killed someone?" Governor Lu was shocked. He is still a student. How could he kill someone? Commissioner Hong really had the urge to find a hole to hide in. But in the face of the governor's questioning, he could only continue to say, "He killed Lei Ming and his son, as well as Tian Shuji's guests." When Governor Lu heard this, his eyes widened. He also heard a little about yesterday's incident. Especially the murder case of Tian Shuji, which cast a shadow over the entire provincial party committee's compound. Many people were talking about it. He was also guessing who was so fierce that he dared to kill Tian Shuji's family. This person was too bold. Last night, he also specially called Tian Shuji to ask about it. But he didn't interfere in this matter. After all, this might involve Tian Shuji's private affairs. It would be taboo to ask too much. Tian Shuji and he were the second in command of the province. They appeared to be united, but were divided at heart. There was a lot of friction between them, but they were all controlled to a certain extent. Secretary Tian was a local tyrant. He was a local who had climbed up the ranks step by step. On the other hand, Governor Lu was an airborne tyrant. Airborne tyrants did not have as many resources as local tyrants. However, in the past few years, he had been diligent in his governance and had made the situation turn for the better. Many cadres had been recruited by him, which showed his willpower and strength. When Governor Lu heard that Tang Zheng killed these people, he subconsciously thought that it must be a conspiracy against him. Moreover, arresting people in front of him was completely to force him to be on the same side with Tang Zheng. It would make people think that all of this was ordered by him. Even if yellow mud fell from the crotch of one's pants, it was still shit. If the leaders above knew that he ordered others to commit murder, this kind of means would be the most taboo in the officialdom. In the struggle for power, there were back and forth, and there were open spears and hidden arrows. This was the rule of the game. But if someone wanted to assassinate someone, it would be breaking the rules and would be kicked out. Governor Lu's nerves immediately tensed up. His eyes were shining. He stared at Commissioner Hong and asked in a deep voice, "Do you have evidence?" "Yes, we are all witnesses." Commissioner Hong pointed to himself and then to the subordinates beside him. "We saw him kill Lei Ming with our own eyes yesterday." At this point, it was useless to deny it, so Commissioner Hong simply admitted it. Hiss. Governor Lu really wanted to suck in a breath of cold air. With so many witnesses, it was a done deal. Could it be that Tang Zheng really killed Lei Ming and his son? Was this a conspiracy? He was just a student. How could he kill people? Was someone trying to frame him? But he killed people. How could he act as if nothing had happened? This was too abnormal. Oh no, could it be that he deliberately got close to Qing Mei and then got involved with me before killing people? This is equivalent to dragging me down with him. He didn't dare to think about it anymore. If it was really like this, then all of this was a big plot. It started with his daughter and then led him step by step to jump into it. Killing Lei Ming was considered a small matter. The key was that he killed Tian Shuji's guest. This was a big matter. It could be said that Tang Zheng originally wanted to kill Tian Shuji, but he just killed the guest by mistake. Or, his target was the guest. He had asked Tian Shuji out to talk about business last night. Didn't this give him a great opportunity to make his move? Therefore, it could be said that he was cooperating with Tang Zheng to commit murder. Moreover, last night, wasn't it his daughter who suggested that he ask Tian Shuji out? This was definitely Tang Zheng's idea. Shwa. Governor Lu's back immediately broke out in a cold sweat. His hands under the table couldn't help but tremble. He thought that this was definitely a conspiracy. A huge conspiracy. Who knew how long this had been planned? It was too vicious. He suddenly turned his head to look at Tang Zheng. He saw that his face was expressionless and extremely calm. If a normal person were to face this kind of situation, they would have already pissed their pants. However, he was completely unaffected. This was too abnormal. There was only one explanation, and that was that he was the one who set this up. He knew that this was all a conspiracy, so he had nothing to fear. Such a ruthless heart at such a young age. Governor Lu felt that Tang Zheng was like a poisonous snake that was currently spitting out its scarlet tongue. He grabbed his daughter and pulled her to his side, then protected her. He gnashed his teeth as he looked at Tang Zheng and said, "Tang Zheng, I never thought that you would be so sinister." Tang Zheng froze for a moment. He didn't know what Governor Lu's words meant and was at a loss for what to do. "Stop acting," Governor Lu angrily shouted. Lu Qingmei looked at her father in confusion and said, "What are you saying? Don't listen to their nonsense." "Qingmei, don't say anything. I'll handle this," Governor Lu solemnly said. Lu Qingmei fiercely broke free from her father's hand and grabbed onto Tang Zheng's arm. She glared at the group of police and said, "With me here, no one can take him away." Commissioner Hong awkwardly looked at Governor Lu. The governor's daughter was stopping him, so what should he do? He scratched his head but couldn't think of a way. He could only be a yes man and tremble as he said, "Governor Lu, this is an order personally issued by Tian Shuji." Governor Lu's entire body seemed to have been drained of energy. Since it was personally issued by Tian Shuji, then it was possible that the mastermind was him. This was directly cutting off his political life. How ruthless. If he protected Tang Zheng, then the other's plot would be even more complete and he would be even more suspicious. As a result, he immediately stood up and said without hesitation, no matter who it is, if they violate the law, then they must be severely punished. Arrest them. Commissioner Hong acted as if he had been granted amnesty. As long as Governor Liu didn't interfere, then everything would be easy to handle. This time he came prepared. No matter how powerful Tang Zheng was, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he had wings. I want to see who dares. Lu Qingmei angrily roared as she protected Tang Zheng. Commissioner Hong and the others immediately stopped and looked awkwardly at Governor Liu. Governor Liu's heart was as cold as ice. His silly daughter still didn't know that she had been deceived. The more she resisted, the more she would fall into the other's trap. He made a prompt decision and shouted, "Arrest them. Tang Zheng, we all know that you are very powerful. If you want to resist, you can try. Look outside the window." Commissioner Hong was afraid that Tang Zheng would explode and hurt people, so he threatened. Tang Zheng walked to the window. The street was already blocked by the armed police. There were also snipers on the distant buildings. Clearly, they were guarding against him in case he resisted and escaped. Tang Zheng chuckled, "They are really well prepared." "Of course, so you should obediently allow yourself to be arrested," Commissioner Hong said proudly. "Tang Zheng, let's rush out. They don't have good intentions." Lu Qingmei said in a low voice. He knew that Tang Zheng was indeed related to this matter, so he was afraid that he would be tortured or even locked up after being caught. As the saying goes, concern leads to confusion. How could there be a prison in this world that could hold Tang Zheng? Tang Zheng smiled and patted her hand, saying, "This must be a misunderstanding. Since they want to catch me, then I will accompany them." Seeing that Tang Zheng was full of confidence, Lu Qingmei was startled. She knew that he would never fight a battle that he wasn't confident in, so he definitely wouldn't shoot without thinking. Chapter 569. Tang Zheng was brought out of the restaurant. The restaurant had already been cleared out and was filled with special police officers. Tang Zheng leisurely got into the police car and sped away. Lu Qingmei immediately said to her father, who had an uncertain expression on his face, "You must save Tang Zheng." Governor Liu declined to comment. After greeting Father Zhao, he dragged his daughter and left. After a while, when he returned home, he let out a long sigh. He solemnly looked at his daughter and said, "Qingmei, don't get involved in this matter. The water is too deep." Lu Qingmei was at a loss and asked, "What water is too deep?" "I suspect that Tang Zheng is a chess piece sent by someone to frame me." "You have been tricked by him," Governor Liu hatefully said. The opponent was too cunning. Lu Qingmei was slightly startled. She immediately shook her head like a rattle drum and denied, "You misunderstood. Tang Zheng did not trick me. This is not a conspiracy. You have fallen too deep. You are unable to see the bigger picture. But don't worry. Using this kind of conspiracy to deal with me is too simple. You must stay home for the time being. You cannot go anywhere." "No, I have to go find Tang Zheng. The police have caught him." "What if they interrogate him?" Lu Qingmei stubbornly said. "Are you trying to anger me to death? This is all a conspiracy. The enemy is using Tang Zheng and you to deal with me. The political world is dangerous. You don't understand. I will go back to the study first." Governor Liu quickly went back to the study to prepare a countermeasure. Lu Qingmei bit her lips. Her eyes kept changing. Suddenly, she angrily stomped her feet and left the house. At the same time, the atmosphere in the Provincial Party Committee's courtyard was strange. There were many armed police patrolling the courtyard, paying attention to every detail. In particular, Tian Shuji's house was surrounded by many mobile sentries and snipers in the dark to guard against possible attacks. Tian Shuji sat in his study while Commissioner Hong stood respectfully in front of him and reported the details of the arrest. When he heard that Governor Liu and Tang Zheng knew each other and even had a meal together, his eyelids twitched violently a few times and a complicated look flashed in his eyes. Seeing his reaction, Commissioner Hong's heart violently trembled a few times. He pretended to be calm and asked, Tian Shuji, then how do we deal with Tang Zheng? Tian Shuji pondered for a moment and said, deal with it strictly according to the law. Yes, but that kid is very tight-lipped. He didn't say a word when he was in the police station. He became a mute. Commissioner Hong said awkwardly. Tian Shuji's expression turned cold as he said, are you police officers incompetent? If the suspect doesn't confess, you can't do anything? Moreover, you saw the crime with your own eyes. Could it be fake? It's definitely not fake. It's absolutely true. Commissioner Hong hurriedly guaranteed. Then think of a way to convict him and make it an ironclad case. Yes. Commissioner Hong understood. But what about Governor Liu? Tian Shuji glared at him and said, Governor Liu is a man of principle. Why would he protect a criminal? Understood. Commissioner Hong left and only Tian Shuji was left in the study. His expression suddenly changed and he muttered to himself, last night he asked me out to talk about something. During that time, Qin Lao was assassinated. If he had nothing to do with this matter, then wouldn't it be too much of a coincidence? He was worried that I would get in touch with the Song family, so he would rather hire someone to kill me than let me succeed. You really think that you can compete with me just because you've been doing well these past few days and gathered a group of officials? You're thinking too simply. Qin Lao is dead and I can't absolve myself from the blame. But as long as I punish the murderer and push the blame to you, causing you to get involved with the powerful Song family, then I won't have to do anything. You'll have to suffer the consequences. Moreover, I can still get in touch with the Song family. It's not impossible for me to go further in the future. After sorting out his emotions, Tian Shuji took a deep breath and dialed a number. This number was given to him by Qin Lao. It was the number of the young master of the Song family, Song Yu. After a few beeps, the call went through. Hello, is this young master Song? Tian Shuji asked. It's me. Who are you? Why do you have my number? Song Yu's cold voice sounded. Hello, young master Song. I'm Tian Jiyuan. It was Qin Lao who gave me this number. Song Yu immediately remembered who this person was. He smiled and said, so it's Tian Shuji. I've heard a lot about you. Qin Lao is working at your place. Tian Shuji, please take care of him. Tian Shuji smiled bitterly in his heart. He's already dead. How can I take care of him? He hurriedly said, young master Song, I've neglected my duty. Qin Lao was assassinated at my humble home last night. Qin Lao is dead? Song Yu was shocked. His voice suddenly rose a few octaves. How is that possible? Qin Lao was a Xiantian martial artist. How could an ordinary assassin be his opponent? It's absolutely true. The murderer is called Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng? Song Yu's heart violently beat a few times. In Yusha, the only one who had the ability and courage to kill Qin Lao was Tang Zheng. He originally sent Qin Lao to take drastic measures to disrupt Tang Zheng's base camp. However, he didn't expect him to die so quickly. This was a slap in the face. Song Yu's breathing involuntarily quickened. Tang Zheng, you're really good. However, Song Yu did not lose his wolf, as Tang Zheng's actions were clearly a warning to the Song family, to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Song Yu was a smart person. He thought for a moment and understood the deeper meaning. Kaka. He clenched his fist non-stop. He couldn't wait to smash Tang Zheng into meat paste. Seeing that the other party didn't respond, Tian Shuji said, we've already caught the murderer. However, I suspect that he's not the main culprit. There's someone else behind him. This person is most likely Lu Jiangqion. Lu Jiangqion? Song Yu was stunned for a moment. He instantly denied this judgment. This matter had nothing to do with Lu Jiangqian. Yes. When Qin Lao was killed, he deliberately asked me out to talk about something to create an opportunity for the assassin. Song Yu frowned. This Lu Jiangqian certainly wasn't the main culprit. However, according to Tian Jiayuan, Lu Jiangqian might not be unrelated to this matter. Song Yu couldn't do anything to Tang Zheng for the time being, but dealing with Lu Jiangqian wasn't a problem. I understand. Someone will be responsible for this. Tian Shuji was overjoyed and said, the murderer, Tang Zheng, we will not let him go. He will definitely be severely punished by the law. Song Yu disagreed in his heart. How could Tang Zheng be so easy to deal with? Since you want to deal with him, then go ahead. He didn't say much and directly hung up the phone. Tian Shuji was overjoyed. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and turned a disaster into a happy event. This was enough for Lu Jiangqian to drink a pot of wine. Lu Qingmei found Marshall and told her about Tang Zheng's capture. He anxiously said, Tang Zheng will definitely be tortured if he is captured. We have to think of a way to save him. Marshall remained calm and collected. He thought to himself that it would be better to let him suffer a bit so that he wouldn't bite the hand that feeds him. If he really didn't want to be caught, how could the police catch him? Marshall was not too worried. As long as it was not another powerful martial artist or cultivator that dealt with Tang Zheng, he would be able to handle it with ease and would not be in any danger to his life. Lu Qingmei preemptively said, maybe he was afraid of implicating me and my father, so he surrendered. Looking at her panicked appearance, Marshall sighed in his heart. He didn't know what kind of bewitching potion this brat gave this woman to make her so loyal. Fang Shishir was like this, and so was Lu Qingmei. If you want to save him, go and do it yourself. I don't have that kind of free time. Marshall crossed his arms and refused. Lu Qingmei was stunned for a moment, then said, how can you not save him? Marshall remained indifferent, thinking that when he was really going to die, I would naturally save him. Lu Qingmei hatefully stomped her feet and said, if you don't save him, I will save him myself. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will not hesitate. Finished speaking, she turned around and left. Police station. Tang Zheng was shackled and locked in the interrogation room. Commissioner Hong sat opposite him and personally interrogated him. This was what Tian Shuji had told him. He did not want to leave it to others. This credit was his. Moreover, he was scared by Tang Zheng yesterday. Today, he could flaunt his strength and get back at him. Seeing Tang Zheng's eyes open, as if he was about to fall asleep, Commissioner Hong suddenly slammed the table and angrily shouted, Tang Zheng, you better have a proper attitude. This is the police station, not your home. If you don't behave, I will take care of you. Tang Zheng opened his eyes and looked at the other party in ridicule and said, only if you don't have confidence would you shout so fiercely. Yesterday when I saw you, why didn't you dare to shout? Commissioner Hong's face turned red. Yesterday's humiliation was brought up in front of everyone. He was unable to restrain his anger and said, yesterday you killed people in front of everyone. Last night you sneaked into Tian Shuji's house and committed murder. Tell me honestly, who ordered you? Commissioner Hong understood Tian Shuji's intentions. This matter must be related to Governor Lu, so he asked this question to guide Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng raised his eyebrows and said, you think I was ordered by someone? Yes, obediently tell me the mastermind behind this. What if I tell you that I didn't? No, you are just a student and you dare to do such a thing? Don't think that I am an idiot and will believe your nonsense. Commissioner Hong said righteously. Tang Zheng shook his head and said, you are worse than an idiot. You. Commissioner Hong's face turned red. Don't think that just because someone is protecting you, you can sit back and relax. The evidence is conclusive and you cannot escape. It seems that you still don't understand me. Tang Zheng said in ridicule. If the other party went to ordinary balance to investigate him, then he would not be so arrogant. What happened in ordinary balance was controlled to a certain extent. The ordinary balance's citizens did not know the details and only a few local officials knew. Moreover, it was the Dragon Group and the National Security Bureau that issued the gag order. Therefore, even the Yusha officials did not know the details and did not know Tang Zheng's background and power. I already know enough about you, so if you obediently tell me the truth and tell me the mastermind behind this, I can ask the judge to reduce your sentence by a few years. Commissioner Hong enticed. Chapter 570. Commissioner Hong had interrogated many people, but no one was as difficult as Tang Zheng. However, he had many means, and it was not so easy to get out after entering this door. He was preparing to use his means, but one of his men opened the door and whispered a few words in his ear. His face changed slightly, and he glared at Tang Zheng fiercely and said, "I'll deal with you later." In the office, Commissioner Hong saw Lu Qingmei. He immediately squeezed out a smile and asked, "Miss Lu, why are you here? What did you do to Tang Zheng? He is suspected of murder, and we are interrogating him." Although Lu Qingmei knew that Tang Zheng did kill the man, there was a reason for it. It was clear that they came to trouble Tang Zheng first and wanted to kill him. He was just defending himself. Commissioner Hong rolled his eyes and asked, "Miss Lu, what is your relationship with Tang Zheng?" "He is my boyfriend," Lu Qingmei blurted out. Bureau Chief Hong was stunned. He knew that Lu Qingmei had already graduated from university, and Tang Zheng was only in his first year of university. The age gap was too big, so he didn't think about it in this direction before. Hearing Lu Qingmei personally say these words, he did not have any doubts. Who would foolishly claim that they were in a relationship with the suspect? However, in a flash, Commissioner Hong was overjoyed. He had been looking for the connection between Tang Zheng and Lu Jiangqion, so that he could tie the two together, but Tang Zheng had not said anything, so he had no way. Since Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei were boyfriend and girlfriend, then he was related to Lu Jiangqion. Even if he could not find substantial evidence, he could make Lu Jiangqion suffer. This could be considered to have completed half of the task given by Tian Shuji. Commissioner Hong did not change his expression and continued, "Governor Lu also knows the relationship between you two?" "Of course he knows." Commissioner Hong smiled and said, "Then I understand, Miss Lu. Don't worry, we will definitely enforce the law. I want to see him." Commissioner Hong hesitated and said, "Yes, but only for a while." Lu Qingmei was brought to the interrogation room. When she saw Tang Zheng was shackled, her eyes immediately turned red. She glared at Commissioner Hong and said, "You are too ruthless." Commissioner Hong smiled and said, "Tang Zheng's skills are extraordinary. We are worried that he will do something stupid. This is for his own good." Lu Qingmei coldly snorted and threw herself into Tang Zheng's hands. She groped and said, "How are you? Did they do anything to you?" Tang Zheng looked at her in astonishment. He did not expect her to run over. He quickly comforted her, "I'm fine. Don't worry. You are already like this. How can I not worry?" Suddenly, she lowered her voice and said, "Originally, I wanted to ask Wu to come with me. At worst, we can escape. But that woman doesn't care about your life or death." Tang Zheng's heart warmed as he comforted her, "Silly girl. Don't do anything stupid. They can't hurt me, nor can they control me. Moreover, if you really do this, you will fall into their trap. But if I don't save you, then how can you go out? Don't worry. I have my own plans. Just watch carefully." Tang Zheng said confidently. Lu Qingmei was skeptical. "Miss Lu, it's time," Chief Hong urged when he saw the two of them whispering to each other. "Let's go back." Tang Zheng comforted her. "Then you must be careful. If someone dares to torture and extort a confession, there will not be a good result," Lu Qingmei said. Commissioner Hong's face revealed an awkward expression. Just as Lu Qingmei walked out of the police station, a car stopped in front of her. Yang Xiaoyu hurriedly got out of the car and said with concern, "Qingmei, I am relieved that you are fine. Just now, I heard from my dad what happened in the restaurant. It really gave me a fright. After Yang Xiaoyu woke up and heard about the wonderful events, it was too late for regrets. He really suffered a big loss and missed such a good show. Otherwise, he would have fiercely reprimanded Tang Zheng in front of Lu Qingmei. But now, it was not bad. At least Tang Zheng's disguise had been exposed, so his chance had come again. "What are you doing here?" Lu Qingmei asked snappily. Yang Xiaoyu said excitedly, "Qingmei, I came to protect you. I didn't expect that so many things would happen in the restaurant. As soon as I woke up, I immediately came to find you. I have already said that Tang Zheng is not a good person. He is a big liar and has bad intentions towards you. Fortunately, he has been exposed and has not caused a disaster." Lu Qingmei frowned and said, "Don't talk nonsense." "How am I talking nonsense? The facts are clear. He killed someone. Not only is he a liar, this kind of person should be shot. He is too hateful," Yang Xiaoyu said with righteous indignation. But he did not notice that Lu Qingmei's face had already darkened. She angrily shouted, "Have you said enough? I am not in the mood to listen to your nonsense." Scram! Yang Xiaoyu was stunned, but immediately returned to normal and said, "Qingmei, I know you were shocked and did not think of all this. Don't worry, I will protect you in the future. No one will be able to hurt you." As he spoke, he made a gesture to hug Lu Qingmei's shoulder. He was simply courting death. Lu Qingmei was already upset, and when she saw his actions, she immediately exploded. She kicked him in the stomach, and he flew out with a whoosh. He hit the car door with a muffled bang, and like a dead fish, he softly fell to the ground, rolling his eyes and sucking in cold air. Lu Qingmei coldly snorted and left with large strides. She could not just sit there and wait for death. She had to think of another way. After a long while, Yang Xiaoyu finally recovered and crawled up in a sorry state. He spat in the direction where Lu Qingmei disappeared and said with gritted teeth, "Lu Qingmei, what are you so arrogant for? An old cow eating young grass, a student who hasn't even grown hair has already deceived you. I don't believe that I, the flower saint, can't take you down. If you didn't have the governor as your father, I wouldn't have to pretend to be a gentleman. Humph, but just you wait, one day I will make you beg for mercy under my body." Commissioner Hong waited for Lu Qingmei to leave before excitedly reporting the new information to Tian Shuji. Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei were actually boyfriend and girlfriend. This meant that Lu Zhangqian would not be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. The future son-in-law of the governor was actually a criminal. This was a stain on Lu Zhangqian's future. Moreover, didn't this link the two murders to Lu Zhangqian? Tian Shuji immediately ordered the case to be closed as soon as possible. Commissioner Hong understood. Although Tang Zheng did not confess, it did not matter. He still searched everywhere for evidence. After spending an entire night, he finally made a complete chain of evidence that could pin Tang Zheng to death. At dawn, Commissioner Hong came to the interrogation room with a pair of panda eyes. Tang Zheng was still handcuffed to the chair and was sleeping with his eyes closed. He did not wake up even when he heard the door open. "Humph, you can still sleep. Wait until you eat a bullet, then you can continue sleeping," Commissioner Hong coldly said. Tang Zheng slowly opened his eyes and looked at Commissioner Hong with a smile that was not a smile. He said, "I'm afraid you ate a bullet, but I didn't. I'm not going to talk to you about these useless things. I'm going to tell you that the evidence of your crime is conclusive. It will soon enter the judicial process. You're finished," Commissioner Hong proudly said. "Oh, really? Of course." Bang! The door was pushed open and a person shouted in panic, "Bureau Chief, these people want to break in. I can't stop them." Commissioner Hong glared at his subordinate and squinted his eyes. He looked at the person who came in. It was a middle-aged man with an imposing appearance. One look and anyone could tell that he was not an ordinary person. "Who are you? Breaking into the police station, do you know that this is a serious crime?" Commissioner Hong angrily shouted. The other person ignored him and directly walked in front of Tang Zhang and said, "You've worked hard. When I received your message, I immediately rushed over from Beijing." Tang Zhang smiled and nodded his head. He stood up, but the shackles on his wrists and ankles broke into pieces. He moved his muscles and bones, then shrugged his shoulders and said, "You came just in time. If you were a bit later, would have eaten a bullet." Saying this, he looked at Commissioner Hong with ridicule. Chief Hong's expression changed drastically. Even the strongest shackles in the police station couldn't lock him down. It turned out that it wasn't that he couldn't escape from the beginning, but that he didn't expect to escape. He had a backup plan. But who was this middle-aged man in front of him? "Eat a bullet, Humph, I want to see who has the guts." The middle-aged man deliberately glanced at Commissioner Hong and said in a dignified manner. This gaze made Commissioner Hong's whole body tremble. It was too terrifying. This person's hands must have taken a lot of lives. That kind of biting cold killing intent could not be faked. "Who are you?" Commissioner Hong continued to ask after being ignored for so long. "You don't have the qualifications to know." The other person coldly said, "You go out for a moment. I have something to say to Tang Zhang. This is the police station, you." Commissioner Hong was originally going to say a few words to keep up appearances, but when he saw the other person's cold eyes sweep over him as if he was looking at a dead person, he abruptly swallowed the rest of his words back down. This person was definitely someone in the government, but there was definitely no such person in Yusha. Just now he said that he came from Beijing. Could it be that he was a high-ranking official in the central government? How could Tang Zhang have such a strong background? Commissioner Hong was full of suspicion as he dejectedly left the interrogation room. He immediately grabbed his subordinate's collar and asked, "Who is this person?" "He just waved his ID in front of me. I think he's from the National Security Bureau," the subordinate carefully said. "National Security Bureau?" Commissioner Hong was shocked. How did this involve the National Security Bureau? The cases under the jurisdiction of the National Security Bureau were all major events that involved national security. Moreover, they had extraordinary power. Even the police had to lower their heads in front of them. Because of the uniqueness of the National Security Bureau, their actions were usually very low-key and mysterious. Commissioner Hong had basically never dealt with them before, but he had heard a few things. The National Security Bureau was not to be trifled with. The National Security Bureau stepped in for Tang Zhang. Then the evidence that he had painstakingly collected last night would not be of much use. Chapter 571. The person who came was indeed from the National Security Bureau. He was the head of the National Security Bureau, Su Yingtian. After the person left, Su Yingtian's tense face relaxed. He looked at Tang Zhang with a smile that was not a smile and said, "You really can't be idle for even a day. It's the new year and yet you still cause so much trouble. You really can't let people have a worry-free new year." Tang Zhang shrugged his shoulders and said, "You can't blame me for this. The tree wants to be quiet but the wind will not stop. Hee, you're too big a tree so it's easy to attract the wind." Su Yingtian joked. Tang Zhang helplessly spread out his hands. He did not want to cause trouble, but it was trouble that came to his door. This time's matter is not small. Not only did you kill the lay father and son in front of everyone, that Qin Lao's death should also be your doing, right? Su Yingtian asked. Tang Zhang smiled, which could be considered as a tacit agreement. Su Yingtian pointed at Tang Zhang and helplessly sighed. "I suspect that even if I helped you solve your problem this time, you will definitely cause new trouble not long after. You have so little confidence in me?" "I have too much confidence in you. I know your ability and I know your style of doing things. That's why I came to this conclusion," Su Yingtian said seriously. Tang Zhang was greatly embarrassed. He laughed involuntarily and said, "Then it seems that in your eyes, I'm a troublemaker." 5. It's not that you're a troublemaker but that your ability is too big. You're too big a tree so you can't help but attract bees and butterflies. Su Tian said seriously. Tang Jing carefully thought about it. Su Tian's words were not false. If he was an ordinary person, then he would not have these troubles. But the key point was that he was not an ordinary person. If you encounter the same thing in the future, what will you do? Tang Jing said without hesitation, if I meet you again, I will still do the same. Su Tian pointed at Tang Jing and said, see, I'm right. You're that kind of person. It's easy to change mountains and rivers, but it's hard to change one's nature. Do I have to clean up after you every time? I have a lot of things to do, so I don't have the time. When he was in the restaurant, he had secretly sent a message to Su Tian. That was why he had followed the police. Although there was no agreement between him and Su Tian, he believed that Su Tian would not sit idly by and would definitely come to rescue him. Tang Jing was not an egomaniac. He wanted to live in ordinary balanced city and ensure that his grandfather lived a normal life. He could not simply run away and become a wanted criminal. His departure from the Lei family was a test to see the attitude of the government. Since the government had taken measures against him, it meant that his influence alone would not be able to resolve this crisis. He could escape without any effort, but what awaited him would not be a small problem. So he had to solve this problem from the source, and the National Security Bureau was the best way. Previously, when such a huge incident occurred in ordinary balanced city, the National Security Bureau and the Dragon Group could make it disappear. This storm was nothing. His guess was right. The deaths of a few people in the underworld was indeed nothing to the National Security Bureau. Although these people had the protection of the government, but in front of the National Security Bureau, that protection was like a layer of window paper. It would be broken with a single poke. It was completely useless. Su Tian did not have to come personally, but he pushed away countless work to personally meet Tang Jing. Of course, it was not as simple as saving people. He looked at Tang Jing with a burning gaze and said, I have a solution. What solution? Tang Jing asked curiously. Su Tian took out a document and pushed it in front of Tang Jing. He looked at him with a smile. Tang Jing was stunned. Looking at the national emblem on the document, he frowned and asked, what does this mean? No matter what, you have killed people this time. Although the National Security Bureau has a lot of power, but to save an unrelated person, the local government will also be dissatisfied. You also know that the local government is not without power. If they report it to the higher-ups, it will be enough to make me suffer. Su Tian said. And then? Tang Jing pointed at the document and asked. If you have an identity to protect you, then what you did will be logical. Not to mention killing a few people in the underworld, even the local government will not be able to do anything to you. Su Tian said proudly. This was the privilege of the National Security Bureau. Tang Jing's head moved. This privilege was too useful for him. He also knew that in the future he would encounter similar troubles. There would always be something that could be used against him. If he had this protective talisman, then it would be twice the result with half the effort. At least he would not be stuck in a stalemate with the local government. He knew that he was strong, so he did not want to be enemies with the local government. He felt that it was meaningless. It was like an adult bullying a child. It was dull and boring. This was the National Security Bureau throwing an olive branch to him. Should he accept it or not? The Dragon Group was his enemy. Now that the National Security Bureau came out to mediate, the two sides could be considered to have reached a temporary peace. But Tang Jing knew that Xing Feng would definitely not let it go. There was no such thing as being a thief for 1,000 days. So if he had the National Security Bureau as a protective talisman, Xing Feng would not dare to act rashly for a long time. But this also had its drawbacks. If he joined the National Security Bureau, then he would be subject to the corresponding restrictions and would not be as free as he was now. After pondering for a long time, Tang Jing asked, "What do you want me to do?" Su Tian's brows revealed a trace of joy. This was a dangerous move. An expert like Tang Zheng would not be willing to be manipulated by others. He also did not have the intention to manipulate Tang Zheng. Cooperation was a win-win choice. Become a special agent of the National Security Bureau. Help the National Security Bureau to deal with some special cases. Other than that, the National Security Bureau will not interfere with anything you do. With the National Security Bureau's protection, many things will be more convenient, such as this time. Tang Zheng was silent as he weighed the pros and cons. Without a doubt, Su Yingtian's conditions were very sincere. There were not many restrictions on Tang Zheng. He only wanted him to help the National Security Bureau when necessary. But for Tang Zheng, he could provide a lot of convenience. In addition, after coming into contact with Su Yingtian many times, Tang Zheng already had some understanding of him. Su Yingtian was much more upright than Xing Feng, and was not a shameless person who only knew how to curry favor. The National Security Bureau had an independent intelligence agency, and Tang Zheng could obtain a lot of useful information from it. This was also a very important point. Su Yingtian quietly looked at Tang Zheng, waiting for his decision. He was a little nervous. He had made this request after careful consideration, especially after knowing that the witch tribesmen had already appeared in the ordinary balance. The National Security Bureau had specially organized people to study the mysterious force in Tang Zheng's hands. They believed that the future of this force was limitless, and that it would definitely explode with great power in the future. The expert's suggestion was that if this force could not be controlled by the National Security Bureau, then it had to be eliminated as soon as possible to avoid future troubles. However, Su Yingtian did not accept the expert's opinion. He knew the actual situation better. With Tang Zheng's personality, dealing with the witch tribesman was equivalent to making an enemy out of him. The gains did not make up for the losses. This world was changing. It was no longer the original world, so many rules were slowly changing. Su Yingtian was clearly aware of this, so he did not dislike Tang Zheng's identity as a cultivator. Instead, he was very interested in him. He did not know how far he could go in the future. In addition, this world was not only filled with cultivators like Tang Zheng, there was also an expert like the 100 Transformations Star Lord. He was not someone that ordinary people could deal with, and even Su Yingtian did not have complete confidence in dealing with him. Therefore, roping in Tang Zheng and dealing with the 100 Transformations Star Lord in the future was not a bad choice. The Western Empire had also been restless, trying to subvert the Huaxia. The National Security Bureau needed more talents, so no matter what, the advantages of recruiting Tang Zheng outweighed the disadvantages. Tang Zheng's eyes gradually became firm. It was obvious that he had made a decision. Su Yingtian looked at him nervously, looking forward to his answer. Okay, I promise you. Tang Zheng accepted the certificate in front of him and opened it. His photo had already been pasted. Su Yingtian felt relieved and laughed loudly. Tang Zheng, welcome to the National Security Bureau. The two of them shook each other's hands vigorously, and a satisfied smile appeared in each other's eyes. Then let's go and solve this problem. Su Yingtian said with a smile, and walked out with Tang Zheng. Commissioner Hong led many subordinates to block the door, as if he was afraid that Tang Zheng would run away. Su Yingtian sneered and said, Commissioner Hong, Tang Zheng is from the National Security Bureau. You know best what kind of people Lei Ming and his son are, so you only have yourself to blame, understand? Tang Zheng has regained his freedom. He is from the National Security Bureau. Commissioner Hong's heart thumped. No matter how big the hole in his brain was, he did not think of this possibility. But Tian Shuji wanted to turn this case into an ironclad case, and implicate Tang Zheng and Lu Jiangqion together. If he let him go, then wouldn't he be neglecting his duty, and all his previous efforts would go to waste? He could not bear this responsibility. No, I can't let him go just because you said so. Who are you, do you have this right? Commissioner Hong persistently asked. Su Yingtian's face sank and said, Who am I? You have no right to know. If I say that Tang Zheng is from the National Security Bureau, then he is. If you still want to find trouble with him, then you are going against the National Security Bureau. You should think about it yourself. Commissioner Hong's heart was bitter, but he could only bite the bullet and say, but not only did he kill Lei Ming and his son, he also intended to harm Tian Shuji. Nonsense, do you have any evidence? Su Tian angrily shouted. Evidence. Commissioner Hong was speechless. Tang Zheng killed Qin Lao, and did not leave any clues, let alone evidence. Qin Lao was different from Lei Ming and his son. After all, he was a member of the Song family. Although everyone knew that Tang Zheng killed him, there was no evidence, and no one could do anything to Tang Zheng. Although the National Security Bureau was powerful, they still had to take into account the Song family's attitude, so they deliberately pushed this case away from Tang Zheng. This way, the Song family would not have any evidence against them and would have nothing to say. From this, it could be seen that Su Yingtian's actions were watertight. If you don't have evidence, then don't talk nonsense. Be careful, or I will sue you for slandering the National Security Bureau. Then you will have to wear the black veil hat on your head. Su Yingtian jokingly said. Commissioner Hong's face was pale, and he subconsciously covered his head as if he wanted to cover his black veil hat. It was very funny. Su Yingtian disdainfully sneered and said, Tang Zheng, let's go. Tang Zheng smiled at Commissioner Hong. Commissioner Hong, I said that this was a misunderstanding, but you didn't believe me. Now you believe me, haha. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.